Yaar, when you also came to class 10 and opened the science book, a smile must have come to your face after seeing the reproduction chapter. You must have flipped a few book pages, seen the diagram, and mischievousness must have struck to you, thinking this chapter will be so much fun. But when the teacher taught this chapter, then bhaiya, it was understood that was we thought that what is here is very different, yaar. Ye sab to yaad karna padega. So if you're troubled by reproduction, then your master has bought a gunshot lecture of the reproduction, inside in which every single concept in your mind, whether it is your plants, unicellular organism. If we talk about human reproduction, I will set every concept in your mind. We will study with enjoyment and understand this topic with seriousness. We will solve lots of repeated questions from previous year board right here, whether they are MCQs or subjective answers. We will study everything in this class. No question is going to come from outside this lecture in the board, pre-board or school. After today's 2-hour lecture on reproduction, not just become an excellent student or reproduction, but an excellent master. Shall we start today's lecture? But one important information, case timestamp pe kya hai? There is a question whose answer you have to tell in the comment, and the Guddu Kudiya who will tell the correct answer. I will take the names for those who give the correct answer to the question at this timestamp at the end of this lecture. Shall we start this lecture? Why? Come on, let's start the excellent chapter. How do organisms reproduce? By first, let's understand what reproduction is. A phenomena, a process by which a living organism, a new individual is formed of a same species. That is what a living organism give a birth to a new young one, which belongs to same species. What do we call that process? Reproduction. For example, a lion's cub will be the same species. It will be a lion. A dog's puppy will be a dog. A human child will be a human, and so on. That is, reproduction has two conditions. First, a new individual would be formed. A new life should be born. And secondly, it should be of same species. This is what is written. Reproduction is the process by which living organisms produce new individuals of the same species. Says reproduction understood. Acha, look at the name reproduction. It is not produced the first time. Re means produced again. For example, your father gave birth to you. You gave birth to your children. A smile is coming. Your children will give birth to their child. The meaning is there will be production again. It's not like production happened for the first time. Reproduction means that there was already one living organism and it produced to produce again. Now a question comes, it is very controversial. Is reproduction a life process or not? If you remember life process, nutrition was a life process. Finding food, eating food, digesting food. Bhai, this is definitely a life process. This is essential. If this is not done, the person will die. Like your respiration was digesting food and making energy from it, making energy from food. Why we don't make energy? The person will die. We study transportation. What does blood do in transportation? It carries oxygen, carries glucose to different cells. If it doesn't carry it, the individual will die. But is reproduction an essential life process? If you don't reproduce, suppose you don't do it, sir, don't say that. Suppose you don't reproduce, will you die? No, sir, we will remain alive. This is your choice, sir. Yes, sir, I have to do it. It's your choice, right? It's the individual choice. You won't die if you don't do it. In fact, a lot of energy is spent, right? But is this determining whether you will live, stay or die? No, it's not. So yes, it is not an essential life process. Now look, CBSE board once asked a question. To name a life process that creates new individuals. Name a life process from which new individuals are formed. Which is it? Reproduction. Meaning CBSE board considers it as a life process. But yes, it is not an essential life process. It is not necessary for survival. It's necessary, right? It's not necessary. Look, see, now there's a logic why it is necessary. Suppose you decided that, sir, we will be Bal Brahmachari, we will never marry, we will not have children. Your friend also said, sir, we will not have children. Your entire class, the entire world said, we will not have any children. Come on, bhai. What is this? It is an individual choice. And it's true, your living dies does not depend on this. But yeah, what will happen? Slowly the human species will become extinct. Slowly the human species will end. So for a species, this is essential. But for an individual, it is not essential life process, such as respiration, transportation, nutrition, excretion. By we don't excrete waste, we will still die. But if we don't do reproduction, we won't die by. But yes, if we look at the level of entire species, the entire species will end. If all the lions stop reproducing, slowly the lion will become extinct. Now the question comes, why is this important? Why it is necessary to reproduce? This is the point. What? That if the species does not reproduce, slowly the species will die. So the continuity of species remains. Human remain for centuries, dog remains for centuries. Reproduction is important for the continuity of species. It ensures the continuity of a particular species. That is one more thing. One thing is understood, the continuity of species should remain. The species will continue if reproduction happens. The second thing is the stability of the population. Look, all of us are born and we will die, right? Death is inevitable. So all the people who are in this world will die. Suppose the deaths keep happening and new children are not born. I'm saying children, later we will use the word offspring in biology. Right now I'm just saying like this. Suppose new children are not born and all people keep dying. That is bound to happen. So slowly what will happen? The population will become unstable. People will start decreasing. So what happens with reproduction? Population stability is maintained. Some people die, some people are born, so the population remains stable overall. There is another importance of reproduction, that because of there is a variation in the DNA which helps in the stability of the species. Now the variation DNA, we are going to study this further, creates variation in DNA that provides stability to a species. What is this? Come on, let's understand further. Now this reproduction is understood. Reproduction means to produce again. Who will do it? Living organisms. What will they make? New individual. How will they be? Of the same species. Is this essential? Is this an essential life process? Is it understood? Yes, sir. No, it is not necessary for survival. Okay, continuity of species will remain, population stability. Let's understand the second point. Now the question comes, do organisms create exact copies of themselves? Are you an exact copy of your father? Your father is an organism. He produced you. Are you an exact copy of your father? Many people say, right, oh sir, Sharmaji's son is an exact ditto copy of Sharmaji. But truly tell me, according to science, are you ditto copy? The shape of your eyes, the color of your eyes, the size of your hands, your height, the number of hairs you have, the color of your hair, the shape of your ears, your nose are exactly like your father or mother. No, it is similar, but not exactly the same. You and I, what are we? You are humans. Your friend is also human. Your partner is also human. We are all part of the same species. Still, we are all different. We are similar, of course. 2 eyes, 1 nose, 1 mouth, 2 ears, 2 hands. We are similar, of course, but we are not ditto copies. How are we ditto copies? Look how beautiful my nose is. Your nose is like pakoda. You have a friend like pakoda nose, right? Tell me commenting. Look at my eyes, how beautiful they are. Look at your eyes. I can tell by the eyes, he is cheat. Look at my hands, small. Your hands are long. So, bhai, you and I are individuals of the same species, but we have a difference. You and your partner, look at yourself. How do you look? Like animals, like devils. Look at them, they are so beautiful. It is the same species, but there is difference inside you people. We call this thing variation in biology. Variation means difference in the individual of same species. There is some difference in characters among different individuals of the same species. What is this called? Variation. Look, variation. Variations are the differences present between the individuals of the same species. What is this? It is variation by. Come on, leave me and yourself. You compare yourself with your sibling. Why are you sibling? You have genetic material should be almost the same. Your genes should be almost the same. But do you look exactly like your siblings? No. People say yes to our siblings. In my case, they don't even say this. My sister looks good. I'm very bad. Many people even doubt, are you really brother? So why you don't look even similar to your siblings? I mean, look something alike. You don't like a copy. So something happens during reproduction that the new individual that is formed is of the same species, but a slight difference comes in it. What do we call this thing in biology? Variation. Very important. What do we call it? Variation. We will understand this in more detail in the next chapter. I will still explain it till now. Variations are the differences present between the individuals of the same species. Look, what is happening here is happening biologically. This is happening at time of birth. There are some other things too which are for your behavior. Why is there any friend who jokes a lot? There is some who stays quiet. Someone likes girls all the time. Tell his name to bhai in commenting. There is one right who falls in love every day. This time it's the real one bhai. Bhai, this bhai you will understand. Bhai, everyone's behavior is different. But this thing does not depend on your genes. This behavior thing, they depend on your upbringing, the atmosphere of your home, the atmosphere of your friends and your surroundings. But characteristics of your body, like what will be the color of your eyes? Will it be brown or blue? They'll duba, neeli aankhon mein ye they'll duba, leave it, brother. Yes, all these things. What will be the shape of your ears? Will they be droopy or small? Your nose will be like pakoda, will it be flat? All these things depend on genes. And when a new organism is formed, it is genetically similar. It is similar to its parents, but not an exact copy. Like you must have seen on the internet, this photo stays very viral. Look at this bicep, look at this son, look at such an exact copy. Why? It looks exactly like it is said that son looks like more than himself does. His son looks like him more than himself. But is this a 100% copy? No, it is not. Somewhere or the other, some variation has come, difference has come. So there is some difference in the individuals of the same species, which we call the variation. Now the question comes, sir, why did the variation happen? We were given birth by mummy and papa. Everyone also says, you are exactly like your mother. Any characteristic that don't look good, papa says this is from the mother side. And whether it's good, papa says this is from our side. So why did the variation happen? Let's understand. What are we all made of? We are made of cells, right? Cell, our smallest unit, fundamental unit. We are made of cells. Remember, inside the cell, there was one thing, the nucleus. Yes, I remember. In the nucleus, there are chromosomes. Now, what is this? We will study in this detail in next chapter. Now, understand, where are the chromosomes? One in your cell, bhai. What is inside the cell? Nucleus. What is the small circle inside the cell? It is the nucleus. Inside the nucleus, there are chromosomes. What are chromosomes made of? They are made of genetic material. They are made of coding. The genetic material from which the chromosome is made is called DNA. What is DNA, beta? It is a thread. What is it? A thread. Yeah, it is a thread and nothing. Look, inside the nucleus, a thread is played like this. Guchod, 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 guchod. It's a thread. What do we call this thread? We call this thread DNA. This thread is very important. On this thread, all your characteristics are coded. If I get this thread of yours, even if I get a piece of this thread, I can tell what will be the color of your eyes, what will be the shape of your ears and your skin also. I can really make a copy of you. Science hasn't advanced so far yet. I am speaking broadly. So inside the cell, there is nucleus, and inside the nucleus, there are chromosomes. What are chromosomes? They are by stuffing this thread into very compact form, thick. And what is the thread? DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. Everyone knows this, deoxyribonucleic acid. This is the genetic material. Okay. Now suppose someone has to reproduce. What will happen by? The cell will reproduce. The cell will make its copy. The cell will divide. So this cell said that I will divide and become 2 from 1. So this cell said, okay, I do one thing. I'll start division. What do I start? Division. Now it has become 2 from 1. So what will the cell do to become 2 from 1? It will try to make its copy. Right now, the cell inside the cell's nucleus, what are you seeing? A thread. What is the thread? DNA, genetic material. So what did the cell do? It tried to make its copy. So copy of its thread made, one copy of this DNA, one is this DNA. And one started making its copy. One more thread was made. Acha, what else there is in cell? There are many things. What is in the cell? Mitochondria. There was one mitochondria inside it. Here one more was formed. And what else are there in cell? There are ribosomes, sir. Okay, ribosomes are there. Suppose there are 1 ribosome here. Here 2 ribosomes were formed. Then what is there? There is endoplasmic reticulum. It's copy to. So copies of all the cell organelles start forming. 2 DNAs were formed, 2 endoplasmic reticulum were formed, 2 mitochondria start copying and starting copying because reproduction has to happen. A new individual has to be formed. 2 cells has to be made from 1 cell. Cell division is happening. Acha, okay. Acha, this happens slowly. Now what will happen? These 2 DNA will start separating. So bhai, they kept separating and we got 2 cells. I can see this DNA in 1 cell. I can see this DNA in 1 cell. Okay. 1 mitochondria went inside this, 1 inside it, and everything went 1 by 1. So 1 cell of copy is made. Yes. Now this cell, which was the parent cell, and these are made, they are made the daughter cells. Will they be 100% copy of it? They should be, because only 1 copy was made. But they are not able to be 100% copy. Why? Because mistakes happen, sir. Everyone make mistake. So go to photocopy machine one night before the exam. Bhaiya, photocopy this copy. Make those small microchips. Do you do it or not? Does photocopy come out as an exact 100% copy of your original copy? No. Black spots fall somewhere, it becomes white somewhere, some line gets erased, text becomes crooked like somewhere, errors happen. Similarly, when the cell is making its copy, an error happens in the DNA, an error happens in the copy of the DNA. And as soon as the error happened, a new kind of DNA was formed due to which variation occurred and the characters become different. For example, I took a strand of DNA. You will read a little bit about DNA in detail in next chapter. Deoxyribonucleic acid. Took one part of it. What is the DNA, beta? There is coding, lots of coding. And from every coding, your characters are decided somewhere. Suppose I took one coding in this. Let's look at this coding. Don't memorize it. A, T. Let's call this G. Let's call this C. This is some coding. How much coding is there? There are billions of coding. Billions, crores and crores of coding are there in the DNA like this. Lots of coding. Where is all this coding filled? Inside the nucleus of every single cell. Every single cell, there is DNA. All your coding is there. Acha. Now its copy is being made by photocopy. New cell is being formed. Say copy is going on. Okay, A's A was made. Okay, T's T was made. Okay, G's G was made. Okay, C's O. What happened? Error happened. Mistakes, sir. Why did error happen? Error should not have happened, sir. Everything should be 100% on the same, sir. Why did the error happen? The error happens because only 4 codes are not being copied. There are billions of codes. A mistake will definitely happen somewhere while copying. There are billions of codes. A mistake will definitely happen somewhere. So, beta, an error happens somewhere in copying that DNA. As soon as the error happens, the DNA of new cells is similar to the old cells. It is not exactly same, and because of this, variation happens. So variation occurs due to error in copying of DNA. This variation happens because of the mistakes that occur in the copying of DNA. Sir, I will become such a scientist that I will stop this error. Our child will look just like us. His child look like him. Our name is Abhishek Maharaj. His name will be Abhishek Maharaj 2. His son's name Abhishek Maharaj 3. Our kingdom will run high. This is not a good thing. It is not a good thing. We will tell you further now why. You are thinking this is good, right? That our child exactly like us. His child is exactly like us. It is not a good thing. Sorry, he become like us to give our paper. He should. I will tell you later. Okay, acha, let's see. So, why organism can't make their exact copy because of variation? What is variation? Difference in the individuals of same species. This is some difference in characteristics that can be seen in behavior ones. Why does it happen? Look, what will have to done for reproduction? New cells will have to be made. What will happen to make new cells? The cell will make its replica. That is, division will happen. Cell division started happening. There will be a copy of DNA in this way. If the cell makes its copy, it will copy the nucleus. So it will copy the DNA. Acha. What is DNA? It is deoxyribonucleic acid. Genetic material present in nucleus of cell. Genetic material. All your characteristics are decided by genetic material. These are billions of codes. From this combination of these codes, the color of your eyes, the shape of your nose, the shape of your belly, your feet, everything is decided. Yes, everything. Now what happened in this copy? An error happened and mistake happened. And not one, many mistake happened. Errors in copying during DNA copying. What happened because of this? Information changed, coding changed. What happened because of that? Some new characters are formed. By characters are formed from coding of DNA itself. And what happened because of that? Variation occurred. Okay. Actually, what is DNA? It is information source for making proteins. What is it? Write it down. Information source for making proteins. And your characteristics are formed from protein itself. Now, if an error occurs in the DNA, the proteins will change. So our characteristics also change. So this is our variation. Now you must be thinking, sir, why doesn't our child look like us? There will benefits. I will tell you why variation is necessary. It is very important. Why? Importance of variation. Let's understand with an example. Suppose a special kind of bacteria lived inside the water. It lived inside the water. Now what will this bacteria do? It will reproduce. If it reproduces, it will make copy. If it make copy, so some error will occur. If an error occurs, there will be variation. Okay. Suppose some bacteria lived inside the water. They did reproduction. When they reproduced, they made their copies. When they made copies, some errors occurred, some variation occurred. So new types of bacteria were formed. Acha. Now every bacteria has some of its own characteristics. For example, I am just giving an example. For example, suppose this bacteria, it survives in 10 to 20 degrees Celsius. It made one bacteria that survives in 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. A bacteria was also formed that survives in 25 to 35 degrees Celsius. Different types of bacteria were formed with different characters. I observed the temperature resistance, how much temperature one can withstand. Why is this happening? Why are different types of being formed? Because of variation. Why is variation happening? Because of error in the copying of DNA. Some mistakes happen in the copy of DNA. Some mistakes happen in the DNA. Okay. Now suppose global warming is happening. The earth temperature is increasing. The water temperature will also increase. The bacteria are inside water. Increasing. Suppose the water temperature, let us suppose, become 30 degrees Celsius. And this temperature is going to remain the same. So what will happen? This bacteria will going to die. This bacteria will also die, but this bacteria will survive. Meaning most of the bacteria will die, but few species or few variations, not species, few variations of the bacteria will survive. Why? Because they could tolerate higher temperatures, and in this way the bacteria will be not be eliminated by this world. The entire ocean of the whole ecosystem will not be disturbed. So this is the benefit beta, that you can adapt to different environmental conditions. Your existence will not end from this world. If sometimes an environmental change occurs, heat starts increasing, rain starts increasing, cold starts increasing, then you will have some such variants which you will be able to survive it. You may not be able to. Look, your survival or non-survival is not important for this entire earth, for ecosystem. No, beta, it is not for an individual. This is how biology works. For it, the survival of the species is important. That is why nature deliberately caused what? Error in the DNA. Nature deliberately caused error in the DNA so that I have different types of variations. If something changes in the surroundings, in the environment, then all of them do not die simultaneously. Okay, this is an NCERT example. Population of bacteria in water. Global warming increases water temperature. Most bacteria die. Only few variants which can live in high temperature survive. They reproduce and species grow further. Now what will these young ones do? Reproduce, and again they will become bacteria. So this is an advantage of variation. The same should not breathe it. Okay. That is why it's written importance of variation. Survival during environmental changes. If environmental changes occur, they can survive them. Prevents extinction of species. By it save the entire species from extinction. If all the bacteria were the same, all would have been finished at 30 degrees. Provides stability. Stability was gained by the entire species. Their extinction stopped. Helps in evolution of species. Now what is evolution? Look at this. It is believed that what are we made from? We are made from the apes. It's a monkey-like species, apes. What must have happened, beta? Apes must have produced their offspring, their young ones. Must have been little variation. It must have started looking little bit like humans, started walking on 2 feet like this. It then produced its offspring. Then there are little error in the copying of DNA. A little variation occurred. A little more, it was somewhere between a human and monkey. Then it produces its offspring. Then there are a little more error in the copying of DNA and variation. And when this error kept happening for thousands of years, was formed from apes, a human was formed. Now this variation is not something that happens in a day. When this variation keep happening for thousands of years, what happens? Because of that, evolution of species happens. The kind of environment we live in, our body which produce a new individual deliberately creates the error in its DNA so that it can survive better for the new environment. In this way, humans were formed from apes. You must have seen that it is said humans used to have little monkey-like tail. Now humans don't have tail because maybe it's not needed now. So the things that are not needed now will keep removed from your body. The things that are needed will keep coming into your body over a period of time. So what happens? Evolution of species. Where it is happening? Error in DNA. This needs to happen. Nature is causing it. Acha, look at one more thing. If there is no error in the DNA, then all of us would look same. Our quality would be the same. Everyone would look same. So different looks also necessary. Variety is very important. Variation in DNA results in the varieties of species and formation of new species. By varieties will be available. For example, suppose there is rose. If there was only red rose in the world and when you give the rose, you will get slapped. That is why there is white rose. Go and give white rose. Say, acha, okay, the fight with you is over. Go and give pink rose and friendship is made. Then give red rose step by step. So why there are so many types of roses? Because of variation. Error occurred in the copying of DNA and new kind of rose was formed. Okay, so this is the advantage of variation or importance of variation. Remember one thing, all this importance of variation, you can also understand it as the importance of reproduction. Because if reproduction does not happen, variation will not happen. So one benefit of reproduction is also that variation occurs, which leads to stability of the species. It avoids extinction, new varieties are formed, evolution happens. Whose advantages are all these? They are now the advantages of reproduction too. Okay. Now, by the reproduction we have to study is of two types. One is asexual, meaning without sexual intercourse. One is sexual reproduction, meaning through the sexual intercourse. In sexual reproduction, what will happen, beta? There will be two parents. In sexual reproduction, sexual intercourse has to happen. So there will be two parents. One will be male, one will be female. Like in humans, there is one woman, there is man. Okay, inside flowers too it is similar, in animals too it is similar. In asexual reproduction, there is a single parent, a single father, a single mother give birth to the child. So what is it? Single parent is involved. Asexual, there is no sexual intercourse happening. So there is a single parent from which a new child is formed. How it will happen? It doesn't happen in humans. Next is asexual, there is no gamete formation. No gamete is being formed. Now, what is a gamete? And in sexual reproduction, a gamete is being formed. Now, what is this gamete? Gamete is sex cells, beta. Like we studied in the previous chapter, control and coordination, we studied our nerve cells. It had a head, it had a tail. Similarly, there are different kinds of cell in our body. The cells which cause reproduction are called what we call sex cells. You must have heard of them, like boys have sperm cells. What do girls have? Egg cells. What are these called? They are called gametes. So a male gamete is formed from male. What is male gamete? Male sex cell. A female gamete is formed from male female. What is this female sex cell? And only when these two meet, a new child is born. This happens in sexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, no gamete is formed. It is not needed. In sexual, it is necessary, beta. There is male sex cell, a female sex cell, and both have to meet. We call that meeting fertilization. So from mating of these two, fertilization will happen and new cell will be formed from this, which we call zygote. What we call it? Not bigote, zygote. Okay. Nothing like this happens here. There are no sex cells here because there is no male or female here. It is single parent. Here no fertilization doesn't happen. There will be no zygote formation here. What will happen here, beta? There is a gamete. Fertilization will happen. Then zygote will be formed, meaning what happens in sexual reproduction? Sex cells are involved. Male sex cells, female sex cells. What are these called? They are called gametes. There are no gametes here. There is no meeting of them here. No fertilization will happen. There is one more advantage of asexual reproduction. What is it? Offsprings formed are usually genetically similar. But it is formed from a single parent only. The next individual is formed from only single parent. So what is this? It is genetically same as it. Because two parents are not coming, so two types of DNA are not meeting. So this is the genetically similar. Offspring formed are usually genetically similar. What happens here? Offspring formed are genetically dissimilar. These are slightly different because what is here, beta? There are many parents are involved. Here more than one parent is involved. That is why the offsprings are genetically dissimilar. And what is here, beta? Single parent is involved. There is only one parent. So how does the offspring? It becomes similar. It becomes nearly same. It is understood asexual and sexual. Asexual, in which there is no sexual intercourse. There will be a single parent. If there is single parent, there will be no sex cells, no gametes. We'll talk about it. In sexual, there will be two parents, one male and female. Both will have their own sex cells, sperm cells, egg cells. They are called digametes. When these gametes fused and made, what is it called? Fertilization. So in sexual, if fertilization will happen, no fertilization, asexual. Since the next offspring is formed from only one parent, it will be genetically similar. Here two parents have met, so it will be genetically dissimilar. Okay. Where will this find this? We have to study it in flower. And what else have to study it in humans? In happen in animals too. In our syllabus, we have to study in flowers and humans. Where does this happen? This happens in many different species. And it has different methods which we have to study further. We have to study fission, fragmentation, regeneration, budding, spore formation, and vegetative propagation. So let's quickly first study these 6 methods. Asexual reproduction. Inside there will be no sexual intercourse. Child will be from single parents. It's very easy method. We'll cover this first. After that, we'll look at this. Come on, let's look at one question. Came in 2017, 2024. What? Assertion offspring produced by asexual reproductions are genetically similar to the parents. So this thing is true. This is true. Asexual reproduction involves a single parent. This is also true. And is this its reason? Yes. Why are the offspring genetically similar? Because there is a single parent. So option A is correct. Both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A because there is single parent. It is genetically similar. Now, beta, we will study the different methods of asexual reproduction. We have to study 6 methods of asexual. The first method is fission. Fission, beta, the simple English meaning of fission is that one thing breaks and becomes 2, becomes 3, becomes 4. Fission means a thing breaking and becoming 2, becoming 3, becoming 4. What will happen here, beta? The method of fission, generally, this method is used by unicellular organisms. Unicellular means single cell ones. Now, someone has only one cell. You have so much thing. There is an organism like amoeba. And its life, it has only one cell. That one cell is the organism, one cell. Now, beta, it is single cell organism. Where will it get sex cell from? Where will it get fertilization from? So, what is the method from it? Fission. That I will break and become 2, or break and become 4, or break and become so many. So, this method of fission is generally found in unicellular organisms. So many bacteria there are unicellular. Many protozoa are unicellular. So, occurs in many bacteria and protozoa. So, we have to study all three examples of protozoa. We have to study many bacteria and protozoa. They are unicellular. They have only one cell. So, what is the way? The fission. Fission means one cell breaks and divides to become more than one cell. Single cell called organism. Not like such a multicellular single cell one. Beta, these organisms are not visible. Single cell called. Whatever thing you see, whatever living organisms you see is multicellular. Simple. Whatever mosquito, fly, whatever is visible is multicellular. What is not visible is all is single cell. The first example is amoeba. It is a multicellular organism. What does it show? Binary fusion. Binary means 2. That is, it will break into 2 parts. Whatever there is binary fusion. Binary means 2. So look, this is the amoeba, this is unicellular. What happened? Slowly the cell division has started. What is happening? Cell division has started. Now the cell wants to divide. So what is happening? It is making copies of everything. Eventually what happened? It is separating. What were formed? 2 daughter cells were formed. 2 daughter cells were formed from one parent cell. Now, one thing is important in amoeba. Look here, I have broken it like this, in this manner, right? It has broken vertically like this, but it's not necessary that it breaks like this. It can break like this, or like this, or like this, or like this, meaning in any plane. It can break in any plane. Splitting of cells can take place in any place. Very important, you have to remember that it can break in any plane. It can break like this and become 2 parts, or break like this and become 2 parts. Parent cell divides into 2 daughter cells. How many cells were formed? 2 daughter cells. Why? Because binary fusion. The second protozoa, beta, which we have to study the unicellular organism is Leishmania. Leishmania is very famous in Bihar. Because of it, a disease occurs. Black fever, Kala Azar. We will study it now. Leishmania, what it is? It is also a unicellular organism. It looks very beautiful. Just look at it. Just look at his face. How beautiful it is. Oh God, mustaches are coming. This is called a whip-like structure. Whip-like means what? It has a hunter-like structure. What kind of organism it is? It is also unicellular, small, not visible, single-celled. What is it? It has a whip-like structure. It has a hunter-like structure, beta. One thing to note here is that it is also a binary fusion. It breaks from 1 to become 2. What it shows is binary fusion. But its binary fusion cannot happen anywhere haphazardly like in amoeba. Its binary fusion happens in a single plane. It like this. It will cut like this so that one wave remains on one side, a second wave is formed on the other side. Look like this. It will only split in longitudinal plane, whereas amoeba can split in any plane. So it is written has a whip. Whip means hunter like structure at one end of cell like there. Binary fission occurs here too in it like in amoeba, meaning it will break into 2 parts only. Occurs in a fixed plane. It happens in a fixed plane in relation to the whip-like structure. Longitudinal fusion. What is this? Longitudinal to the whip. Longitudinal, where there were one whip, another whip was formed. Causes Kala Azar, black fever. What is black fever, beta? Fever comes, skin gets discolored. This is deficiency of blood. We don't have to study it, but remember the disease, black fever, Kala Azar. Okay. The third protozoa we have to study is Plasmodium. What is this, beta? Unicellular. Whatever as unicellular organism is seen in the exam, how will it reproduce? Remember for the exam, how will it reproduce? By fission. Unicellular, it has only one cell. So what should be done, sir? Now only one way. It breaks, 1 becomes 2. Amoeba become 2 from 1. Leishmania become 2 from 1. Plasmodium does not become 2. It becomes many. What is it? It is unicellular. Now what does it do? Suppose this is one cell. Inside it, what will it do? It makes one more cell, makes one more cell, makes one more cell. It keeps making lots of cells like this. One cell divided, 2 more formed, 2 divided were formed, 4 divide 10 form, and they keep forming, it remains closed inside a structure. Suddenly this structure bursts and lots of cells comes out. So what does it show? It shows multiple fission. What do amoeba and leishmania show? Binary. What about plasmodium? Multiple fission. From 1 to 2 form, 2 to cap form, 4 keep forming, and remain packed in a cyst. When the cyst burst, lots of cells came out. This beta is also a material parasite. It causes malaria. What is this? Malarial parasite. Remember this important point. Which disease does it cause? Malarial parasite. What does leishmania cause? Kala azar, black fever. So, fission understood, unicellular organism. Most of the bacteria, protozoa, break from 1 to become 2, 3, 4 or many. Next method. Next is fragmentation in Spirogyra. Now, what is Spirogyra? This beta is green algae. What do you see it in water, etc.? Look here, I brought in picture here. You must see it when water staying like this. Oh, sir, it is moss, sky, moss in water, moss. Yes, the same moss. It is the moss. So, green algae you see in water. What does process show? Fragmentation. When this species, Spirogyra, becomes mature, when the moss becomes mature, becomes big, then maybe it is not able to reproduce sexually, or it does not want to do. In such a condition, what is the method for it to create a new individual? The single way is that I will break myself. It happens nowhere that it breaks somewhere and from the middle and spreads everywhere. Then it breaks, goes somewhere, then becomes big. That is what it does. It breaks itself into 2, 3 parts, 2, 3, 4 parts on its own, on its choice, on its own choice. And by breaking, it makes it different fragments, fragment 1, fragment 2, fragment 3. And all these fragments slowly what happens? They grow and become new individuals they form. What is this? Fragmentation in Spirogyra. Fragmentation because it broke into fragments. Breaks into smaller pieces upon maturation. What is Spirogyra beta? It is green algae. You find it in water. When it's become mature, it does not produce sexually. What does it doing? It is breaking itself, not known as is breaking it. It broke itself and it made fragments, and those fragments grew to become new individuals. A similar process you will see in regeneration process. It will look similar. This happens only in planaria. What is planaria beta? It is a flat worm. What is it? It is a flat worm. Planaria. You can search for it. You will find it. It is drawn like this in NCERT. Look, its size is also drawn planaria. Beta, people do very bad things to it. Regeneration. What happens? Have you ever seen a lizard's tail? If it break, it grows back. What is that called? Regeneration. The lizard has so much cells. The lizard has that cell, special cells, which have regenerative power to generate itself back again and again. The same power is held by planaria itself. So what is regeneration in planaria? It is that you caught the planaria, you caught this platform, and suddenly you got the dhalak, abloid dhalak. You cut it. You cut it with a knife or broke it with something, it will die. No, it does not die. It performs regeneration. It doesn't die at all. You cut it into 3 parts. From all 3, new parts are formed, new begins. Oh my, maybe you would be like this too, sir. We would make our own copies. This is called regeneration in planaria, but pay attention. This does not happen by its own will. It was mischief against it. It was caught and cut into 3 parts. Thought it would die, woke up next morning, it's become big. All 3 parts dead, it came to life on its own. This is called regeneration in planaria. If the individual is cut into many pieces, pieces grow into separate individuals. Regeneration is carried out by specialized cells. Not all cells do it. They are specialized cells. Term specialized was cut here. Specialized cells. There are some special cells due to which regeneration occurs. You will find this in planaria too, and it is clearly written in the NCERT. That is also found in Hydra. But we study example of Hydra under budding. We will study Hydra further now. It happens in planaria. Is the planaria understood? What is it? It is flat worm. What is it? It is a flat worm. Now, beta, tell me one thing. This is not reproduction. Look, it is written here. It is a slightly cut off. Regeneration is... Why? This is not reproduction, yaar. This is not reproduction. No. This is regeneration. Regeneration is not equal to reproduction because you forced it to happen. It does not happen on its own. So, planaria also does sexual reproduction. If you don't cut or beat it, it will also produce new young ones through sexual intercourse. So regeneration is not actually reproduction. The only problem is that definition matches. Recall the definition of reproduction. A living organism creates new individuals of the same species. So everything is happening. So the definition matches. That is why it is said. But if we look at this way, it is not the common form. This should not be the way to reproduce. that come here, I will cut you and make new species. So that is why it is written regeneration is not equal to reproduction. NCERT also write this thing. Okay, remember this diagram. The diagram of planaria comes in the exam. What to do? Draw a flat form, cut in like this, then break it, and the step by step become small, then become bigger. So the diagram is important. Let's move on. The next method, a question came. CBSE 2020, 23, 25, what? The modes of reproduction in Spirogyra, Thai, and planaria respectively are, what does Spirogyra do? It broke itself on its own fragmentation. What happened in planaria? Regeneration. If you cut it, regeneration again. So what will it be? Fragmentation and regeneration. Next, CBSE 2025, 2021, 2020, 2017, 2016, taken it twice. So these or similar questions have come. Name a method by which Spirogyra reproduces under favorable conditions. How does it reproduce in favorable conditions? By fragmentation. Is it sexual or asexual? It is clearly asexual, isn't it? There is no sexual intercourse. It's formed by single parent. Okay. Next is budding in hydra. What is hydra, beta? You must have seen this animal inside the sea somewhere on National Geography. In the ocean, there is an animal, an aquatic animal, not a plant. An aquatic animal, we call this hydra. Now, beta, hydra has some special type of regenerative cells, just like planaria had. Hydra also shows regeneration. If you cut it, it still forms a new species. The same thing that planaria was showing. But the method was NCERT teaches, which is asked in the exam, is budding in hydra. Budding in hydra. What is budding? Now, this is such an aquatic animal whose regenerative cell, meaning the capacity it has to form new cells, it's on a specific site, suddenly starts making new cells. Cell division happens. Cell division happened 1, 2, 2, 2 to 4, 2, 4 to 8. They keep forming. Imagine if sudden cell division starts here in me and cells keep forming, keep forming, keep forming. What will happen? A lump will come out of me. Will it or not? A lump will properly come out. Cells keep forming. This lump is called a bud, and this method is called budding. So what happens in hydra? Suppose this is hydra. It's frills, and coming out of top. These are called tentacles. Look, see, it's frills on top. Can you see it? These, what we call it, tentacles. What happened? Suppose cell division suddenly start here. Cells kept forming. So what happened? A small lump came out. What do we call this? We call it bud. Now what happens? Slowly this bud will grow big. It will growing, and eventually it will becoming like father. It will become like a parent developing hydra. After some time, when the child grows up, what does he do? He goes away from his parents. He lives his own life. Similarly, beta, this one will also do the same. After some time, the fully developed hydra separates from parent hydra. After a time, what does it do? It separates itself from the parent and it becomes a new individual. So it is reproduction or not? Absolutely, it is. A new individual was formed of the same species. Is it sexual or asexual? Yes. Is it sexual? How does it happen? From regenerative cells. There are special types of cells which continuously divide themselves and increase at a specific site. This is written. Use regenerative cells for reproduction. Repeated cell division at one specific site forms an outgrowth. What will form here? An outgrowth will form. What do we call this outgrowth? We call it a bud. So what was formed here? Bud is developed. Then what? Bud developed into tiny individuals. Slowly this bud become a tiny individual. A new individual keeps forming. It keeps getting bigger with time. Where is it getting nutrition from? From the parent, food and everything, right? On maturity, detach from the parent body to become new independent individual. What will happen with time? It will detach itself and become a new individual. It is clearly written in NCERT that yeast also shows budding. This point is often missed by many teachers. NCERT says that the same thing happens in hydra and yeast. A bud forms like this and then a new individual. So what is this? This is process of budding. CBSE 2015, 2021, 2022 asked this question many times. Describe budding in hydra with the help of a label diagram. So bhai saab, diagram, practice the diagram. Well, it is very easy. It is very easy. Draw bottle-like shape at the bottom, make it frizzy, ruffled air on top, then make a lump come out from the side, then after making the lump, separate it later. Okay, so practice that diagram. Well, let's move on. Identify the mode of asexual reproduction in the following organism. This organism was shown. Which organism is this? It is hydra. It is an aquatic animal. What does it show? It shows budding. So what is written here? Budding. If regeneration was also an option, it would be confusing because hydra shows regeneration as well as budding. But mostly the budding example is asked. Okay, let's move on. Next is spore formation in rhizopus. What is rhizopus? Bread mold. You must have seen that if your bread is left outside the fridge in the room for a few days, then a black layer accumulates on it. Don't people say, what's on bread? What is attached on bread? Fungus has attached. Don't they say that what is attached on bread? Fungus has attached. So beta, the fungus that grows on the bread, this is commonly called bread mold. And in biology, its name is rhizopus. What is the name? Rhizopus. What is rhizopus? Bread mold. Now let's study a little about how it reproduces. You have seen, right, the bread, if you keep it outside the fridge, fungus grows on it after a few days. How is it growing? Where did it come from? Where did this fungus come from? How did the entire bread become blackish? First it is little, then how it spreads slowly. Let's understand how it builds entire food. Does it happen or not? If you keep bread outside the fridge like this, what happens after a few days after? Grows on it, serve the fungus with butter. Serve it with the butter. It's also like butter. Pagal, living organism. So how does the rhizopus spread? How does it reproduce? Let's understand this. Now, if I look at the that blackish fungus on this bread, under a microscope, it looks something beautiful inside. Yes, this is rhizopus under a microscope. Look closely, it looks somewhat tree-like. Look the top and flower-like, there are roots and stem, everything. The sphere you see on top, this sphere has a name. Name is sporangia. What is it called? Sporangia. NCERT also calls this blob in like structure. NCERT actually says it's blob on a stick. So this blob-like structure, or you can say it as sac. A blob-like structure, sac means a sac, a bag, round thing on top. What is it? Rhizopus. It is bread mold. It looks like this, a sphere like this. Inside this sphere, beta, filled marbles, small marbles. Inside it are small marbles. What is this? What will be inside the sporangia? There are sporangia inside, spores. These are cells, beta. Lots of cells are filled inside it. If these cells come out, they will live on a new individual. What is this? Spores. Look at this written. These spores. They are spores. Reproductive units. These are simple cells. Lots of spores are filled inside this bag. Spores are filled inside the sporangia. And this stick is called hyphae, thread-like structure. What is hyphae? This is called hyphae. So beta, the fungus that grows on the bread, when you look at it under a microscope, it is so beautiful. This is spore on top, which is called sporangia. What is this? It's a bag. What is this? It's a sac. And what's it called inside? Lots of cells are filled, which we call spores. Now what happens, beta? This sporangia burst with a pop. Patak. As soon as it bursts, what happens from inside, beta? Spores come out. Look at. As soon as it bursts, spores come out from inside. These cells came out. But the outside, the world is very cruel. It will kill these cells. This is why, beta, what is top of these cells? These are protective covering. There is a thick layer which protects it from the dying. There is a thick layer which protects it from the cold, which protects it from dehydration. If it gets cold, it will not be able to spread. Its condition bad in the cold. Why? Just think, where does mom keep the bread? Inside the fridge. Why does she keep it inside the fridge? Why doesn't she live outside? She said, no, put it inside, it will spoil. Because it's cold inside the fridge. In the cold, beta, there is condition gets bad. So where it is cold, thick layer protects it. It is saying, oh brother, be safe from the cold, be safe from cold, be safe from cold. Where, beta, this dehydration, meaning where moisture is not available, its condition becomes bad. Why? It is cell, right? A cell needs water to survive. By what is cell made of? It's mostly of water. If we don't get water, what it do? So there's lack of water, a lack of warmth, meaning it gets cold. Then it will die. Who said the thick layer outside and inside the favorable conditions? Now suppose you took the bread out and keep it outside, and spores are wandering from somewhere in the surrounding environment. Where do they wander from? Oh, see, bread mold must have been attached from something or the other nearby. Somewhere nearby, yeah, sporangia must have burst and spores must be roaming in the air and they would not even die. Why will they not die? This thick layer has protected them. No water, no problem, we will save you. It's getting cold, no problem, we will save you. And suppose, beta, you kept your bread outside. This is your bread on your table and you were supposed to eat it, but you went to school. Now see what mischief happened on it. Now this spore, what is this? A spore. Now this spore landed on this bread. It said, hey, hi, I found bread. And that to where? It was found outside. Henna. It landed here. As soon as this spore lands here, a thick layer will burst and this spore will germinate itself just like plant seeds germinates. It will germinate inside the bread and slowly that will form this spore, a new sporangia, a new hyphae. The whole thing become a new rhizopus. What does it do? It germinates itself by germinating itself. Look, it takes its roots, etc. It forms its hyphae, etc. It forms its brothers and sisters. It forms its sporangia. The blob-like structure. What will you fill inside it again? Spores. In this way, it multiplies. Two things are needed for it to multiply. Actually, there are three things. First, it needs warmth. It doesn't work in by cold. If you put it inside the fridge, we will die. Second, it needs moisture. It will need a little water. Why? Water is needed for the cloth. This is moisture. Third, it needs food, nutrition. It got bread. It got nutrition. Job done. That is why bread is not kept outside. It's kept in the fridge. That is the reason. What is rhizopus? It is bread mold. What is it? It's a fungus. Spores are covered by thick walls that protects them in unfavorable conditions. I told you, right? It is thick wall, a thick layer that protects it unfavorable condition. Unfavorable means it protects in cold. It protects from dehydration, right? It protects it from cold, from dehydration. Favorable conditions were formed, such as what should be there important? Moisture, warm temperature, and nutrition. Everything is available outside the bread. The bread is outside, the surrounding moisture will become on the bread. There is warm temperature outside too, just right. And what we are getting? Nutrition with the bread. Spores germinate and develops into new individuals or rhizopus. What happens? They germinate and become new individuals. So this is important, remember it. What is the advantage of spore formation? Better, the advantage is that once may form many, immediately many will produce again. What is the second? They can travel easily. Spores are lightweight and easily transported from one place to another. By they are small bubbles, small space. They can travel anywhere at once. They can be formed many. There are two advantages. A large number of spores are produced in a single time. So remember two advantages. One is the lightweight, so they can travel easily. Second, they can be produced in large numbers. Okay. Come on, let's look at question. 2015, 16, 17, 21, 24. What is the question? Why does this is coming many times? Why does rhizopus not multiply on dry slice of bread? Why doesn't it multiply on dry bread? Because what does rhizopus need? It needs moisture. It cannot grow without moisture. List two conditions required for its growth. Rhizopus does not multiply on a dry slice of a bread because moisture is essential for its spores to germinate. Only if the moisture is available, roots will form. Only then germination will happen. In dry condition, the spores remains inactive and cannot grow. Two conditions required for its growth: moisture, warm temperature, and if they ask for the third one, what should you write? Nutrition. It needs three conditions. It needs in the cold. It does not happen. It does not from the fridge. Let's move forward. It is the last one, beta. The last method of asexual reproduction is vegetative propagation. In which one does this happen? It happens in plants. Now plants, when we study plants, we have to study sexual reproduction. In this chapter, we have to study sexual reproduction. Plants reproduce sexually with the help of the flower. That is, wherever the reproduction happens with the flower, it will be sexually reproduction. It will be fun. Hey, huh? But suppose plants reproduces with its stem, reproduce from their root, reproduce with their leaf. Actually, was the root's job to reproduce? No. What was the root's job? To bring water and minerals from below to the plant. What was the actual job of the leaves? The job of the leaves was to photosynthesis, make food. What was the stem's job? The stem's job was what? The xylem and phloem. They do transportation of food and water inside it. But if the plant stem, the plant's root, the plant's leaf start reproducing, we will call that vegetative propagation. What kind of method is it? Asexual reproduction in plants. So both things are happening in plants. Sexual too. How does sexual happen? From the flower. And if the plant reproduce from any other part from the flower, it will reproduce. We will call asexual reproduction vegetative propagation. It asks its advantages a lot in the board. Let's quickly understand. So suppose there is a plant which reproduces from its stem, produces one root, and from its leaf, that is called vegetative propagation. From example of stem, potato. What is potato, beta? Potato is not fruit, not a flower. What is potato, beta? Potato is an underground stem. What is potato? Underground stem. Leave the potato outside and place a slightly wet tissue paper on top of it. Wet tissue paper top of it. As soon as it gets moisture, it will start forming eyes like this. As a puchara, it will start coming out like this. And when you leave this, what will happen? A plant will start growing from here. What will happen here? A plant will start growing here. Meaning, what is this? Vegetative propagation. Single parent. What happened from just one parent? A new plant was formed. Asexual reproduction. Who did it? underground stem. Stem does it, root does it, leaf does it. Okay, like the example of potato is done. Another example is ginger. What is ginger, beta? It is also underground stem. You must have seen, maybe your father did the sometime. My father used to cut the ginger like this. The plant is like this, bare in the pot. And what happened? The new plants was formed from ginger. What would happen? The roots will start coming from below. The stem. What is ginger? Roots will start coming below and new plant will form itself. Onion is other example. There is two example in NCERT. The second is root. That a new plant is formed from the root. This is also an asexual reproduction, propagation. Sweet potato. What is sweet potato? Sweet potato. Shakarkandi. People from UP and Bihar must be understanding. Must have eaten the sweet potato in childhood. We used wheat and candy. We enjoyed it a lot. Sweet potato, beta. What is this too? This is root. It is not a stem. What is it? It's a root. A new plant is formed there too. The third example is very important. From the leaf. That a new plant is formed from the leaves plant. Think if I cut the plant leaf and bury it and you bought, will the new plant grow? No, yaar. Not all leaves do it. There are a few. Like there is a plant called bryophyllum. Bryophyllum. Its leaves at its corner. This is the leaf of bryophyllum. At this corner, small, what emerges? Small, what emerges? Buds start emerging. In the corner of the leaf, small, buds start forming just like this. Small plants of this kind start emerging like this. And below this, beta, roots also start forming. What starts forming? Roots also start forming below. Plants emerge below. Roots also start forming. This happens where on the liquid? Is it visible? On the margin. This. What is this? Bryophyllum. The leaf of the plant of bryophyllum, on the margin of this leaf, where on the margins of the leaf, at the corners, what happens? Some buds start emerging like this. Some buds of this kind start emerging. And these buds have roots below them. Now what will happen? By the wind blew, the leaf fell into the ground. As soon as it falls into the ground, where will this root go? Buds go into the soil. And what will happen here? A new plant will be formed. And suppose the wind didn't blow, the leaf doesn't down. This reproduction won't happen. This method won't happen. Okay. So the margin of bryophyllum means there are buds. And these buds also have roots below them. If these suddenly fall into the ground, what will be the sown do? They will germinate. Okay. Buds produced in the notches. Notches mean beta terminals. That is margins. Notches means margins or terminals. Along the leaf margin of bryophyllum fall on the soil and develop into new plant. Is it understood? This will fall and soil and germinate and form a new plant. So this is done from the leaf. You understood the root one. I saw sweet potato and I saw potato for the stem now. Now all this process of food vegetative propagation is happening naturally in nature. We didn't do them. Birds were forming on life fumes. All these things were happening on their own. Now humans applied their mind thinking, yaar, the method of sexual reproduction, what happens in that, beta? In that, sexual intercourse will happen between the male and female parents. Then a zygote is formed on it. Then a seed will be formed on it. Then we will put the seed inside the soil. The germinate will happen. It will happen a lot of time. The second thing is that there is sexual reproduction. The characters obtained there will be genetically dissimilar. They are the genetically similar. So clever thought came into the human mind. Let's create an artificial method of this process so that we can create a new plant from the plant stem, new root leaf. It will be formed quickly. It will be formed of the desired quality and lot of formed only. So beta, there are also artificial methods to do this. These become the natural method. What are the artificial methods? Like layering is one. Now what is done in layering? Suppose this is the plant. Suppose I wanted to reproduce it and make a new plant. So the method is very long. What would happen inside this flower? What would happen inside its flower? Sexual intercourse would happen. Male gamete, female gamete would mate. Zygote would form. Seed would form. As soon as the seed is put inside, it would germinate. Simple. I took one branch of it. I took one stem and bent it down and buried a little bit inside the soil. Picked it up inside, buried in the soil. After few days, I saw that roots started coming out from this stem itself. But from what? This stem. So bhai, reproduction happened there from what? It happened from this stem. Roots emerged from this stem itself and new plant was formed. What is it called? It's called layering. What is the second method? Grafting. What did I do in grafting? I held the stem of one plant, cut it like this khachak, bought another plant, had cut, brought the stem of another plant from somewhere, join both them and tie with the cloth like this on them. What is called grafting. Now what will happen in this? The new plant that forms will have two advantages. One is that it will form quickly. It doesn't have to grow roots, no seed, germination has to happen. Second is that new plant that forms, it will have a characteristic of both these plants. Imagine there is a plant like that is resistant against many bacteria, and there is a plant that gives very good fruits. A combination of both was formed. The third method you must have seen is cutting. Have you ever seen a rose seed? Have you ever seen the seed of rose flower? Do you have rose at home? Have you ever grown one? We used to grow a lot. So what grows roses? Seed. What do? We're cutting a column. They call this column. Ask your father, column, rose cutting. So what do we do? Suppose you have a rose. Suppose it's a rose. So you cut it raw from air and pick it up and put a cutting inside the soil. A new rose will form itself. So where is it formed? Its reproduction happened from the stem. How did it happen? Asexual vegetative propagation. So these are its advantages. Better, it will form quickly. It will grow it from the seed now. Okay. So this is here is very important. It asked in the exam. Advantages of vegetative propagation. So what are the advantages? Come, let's see it quickly. The first was it. Bear fruits and flowers earlier than those produced from seeds. By it will take a lot of time with seeds. First seeds will form, then take them, germinate, then water them, then wait, sun comes, this happens. What happens in this? You directly cut the flower, cut it and planted it, meaning cut the rose and stem and planted its stem. So bear fruits and flowers earlier than those produced from seeds. Vegetative propagation is more rapid. The speed is high. It is easier. It is easy. There is not much acid. And it is also cheaper, sasta method of multiplication of plant. By it is cheap. What is done in layering? Look, what was done in layering? How is this method? Is took one branch like this, put a bag here, meaning put a nail like this, put a nail and put it inside it. New plant is formed. So it is easier, cheaper and all speed. Used in layering, grafting to grow plants like sugarcane, roses, grapes. What do we all use in this? We all use layering and grafting. Make possible the propagation of plants that have lost the capacity to produce seeds. Eaten banana? Yes, banana have seed. There are no seeds in banana here. So how will my banana form? How will the banana tree grow? It doesn't have seed. So what will the method? Vegetative propagation. So there are such plants, such fruits which have lost the capacity to produce seeds. There are no seeds inside it. But we want the same kind. Suppose there is a particular kind of banana. It came to your city. Everyone enjoy it. Everyone said we want exactly like this banana. Now beta, if a new banana is formed to the sexual intercourse, look, bananas have seed. There are some white bananas. There are some white forests. They have seeds. The banana you people get, they don't have seed. Meaning they are made by vegetative propagation. Now suppose you want the same kind of banana, same. So you want to have genetically similar. So you don't need to sexual reproduction. We need asexual method. So such plants which have lost the capacity to produce seed, or where you do not want them to produce seed, what will we apply here? Vegetative propagation. Remember two fruits and two plants in this. Sorry, remember two fruits and two flowers in this. Which are two fruits? Banana, orange. Remember two fruits. Banana, orange. Now when a particular kind of orange is liked by those who like the same orange, so bhai, if I have to do sexual reproduction, new kind of orange will be formed, genetically similar. I want it similar. So what do I will do? Asexual reproduction, that is vegetative propagation. And now remember two flowers, rose, jasmine. Have you ever seen a rose seed? I have not seen. What do? They cut the plant. Plants produce are genetically similar. This is great advantage to the plant and its characteristic. It will be genetically similar and its asexual method. What is similar, beta? Because the method is asexual, because it's single parent. It's a single parent, that's why. Okay. Next is what? Desirable characters of fruit can be maintained. What I said, that the way banana was, how sweet it was, how tasty it is, it will maintain because here it's asexual. Look at the example: sugar cane, potato, ginger, onion, jasmine, rose, grapes, banana, sweet potato, bryophyllum. So you should remember these examples. Question in the board exam will come from it. Come on, let's move forward. What is the question? 2025, 2024, 2023, 2016, it is coming many times. Vegetative propagation refers to the production of new plants of the same species from the following part. Which part it will be? Excluding the flower, stem, root, leaf. What will form? Stem, root, leaf. Here it is, root, stem and leaves. 2024, 2023, 2021, what is it? The plant that can be raised by the method of vegetative propagation are sugarcane, rose, grapes. What are these obtained from? They are obtained from layering and grafting. The very first option is correct. Sugarcane, roses and grapes. Here banana and orange are correct. Mustard is wrong. Sugarcane, roses. Clear? Come on, let's move forward. Next question, questions 2023, 2022, 2017, 2016. This question has come many times. This or similar or its parts. What happens when leaves of bryophyllum falls on the soil? What happens, beta? Leaves of bryophyllum fall on the soil. What will happen? Its root will emerge, it will germinate, a new plant will form. What will happen? Fall on the soil. New plants grow from the buds of the leaf margin. What is the mode of reproduction? Vegetative propagation. Planaria is cut into many pieces. What will happen? Every piece will do what? It will become a new individual. When planaria is cut in many pieces, each piece grow into a new planaria. What is the method? 3 generation. Sporangia of rhizopus on maturation liberates spores. Liberates means spores are released. So what will happen? Spores will go get favorable conditions, then they will germinate and from new rhizopus will form. When sporangia of rhizospores mature, they burst and release spores that germinates in moisture and warm temperature to grow into new individuals. What is the mode of reproduction? Spore formation. So here your asexual methods are finished. Now we will study sexual reproduction. Come on. Now we will study sexual reproduction. Until now you saw that in asexual reproduction what is happening was that a new individual was formed from a single parent. What will happen in sexual reproduction? Sexual intercourse will be done. Meaning here there are need two parents. One male parent, one female parent, whom you call mummy, papa, mother, father, you say. Now the term mother, father is fine for humans. You cannot use it in plants. So in sexual reproduction, two parents are needed. One male parent, one female parent. The male parent has the male gamete and the female parent has the female gamete. Now master, what is this gamete beta? Beta, gamete is a special type of cell in our body that does work of reproduction. Why in our body? There is a different cell for every job. In last chapter you saw that every nerve cell, where inside the nervous system, what was its job? To carry signals from here to there, to carry message from here to there. Similarly, there is a special type of cell in our body to do reproduction. You can call this a reproductive cell, or you can call this a sex cell, or you can call this a gamete. So gamete is a reproductive cell. You can call this a sex cell, also called germ cells. Sometimes this term is also written germ cells. So don't be confused in your syllabus whether germ cells is written, sex cells is written, gamete is written. It is all the same thing, right? Actually germ cells is slightly different, but in your syllabus it is same. So bhai, from the male parent we got the male gamete, the male sex cell. From the female parent we got the female gamete, the female sex cell. Now both these gametes, that is male gamete, female gamete, will meet each other. These two cells will meet. And when these two cells meet, a new individual will be formed. This is sexual intercourse. When these two cells meet, this mating is called fertilization, or you can call it a fusion. Fusion means meeting, the joining in two things. So the male gamete and female gamete will meet, fusion will happen, two cells will meet. This will be called fertilization. These two cells together form a single cell which we call zygote, not bigote, but zygote. This, what is zygote? Single cell. How is zygote formed? It is formed by fertilization of the male gamete and female gamete. Now by an organism cannot be formed by single cell. Now what will happen? This single cell will divide itself 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, 16 to 32, 32 to 60, which is dividing. It will become a ball of cells. Lot of cells will form in it. A ball of cells will be formed and we call this ball of cells an embryo. Then what will happen after the embryo? More cells will divide and more cells will be formed. Then a fetus will be formed. Then a baby will be formed. Now fetus, baby is for fine humans. It will not correct for plants. So what will happen inside the embryo? Now these cells will divide more and more cells will be formed, and eventually what will form? An organism. So beta, what is the most important thing in the sexual reproduction? The formation of gamete formation. Once you get the gametes, and the method for fusion of the gamete is found, fertilization. After that, the process is largely in automation, that once fertilization is done, everything will happen automatically. A zygote will be formed. Then the zygote cell is a single cell. It is divided and makes a lot of cell. The ball of cells will be called embryo. Then it will divide for form the organism. Now a good question comes. If a new individual was being formed through asexual reproduction, if without sexual intercourse, being formed without sexual intercourse, then what is the need for sexual reproduction? NCERT asked this thing. Why the sexual mode of reproduction? What is need? Just think that when a new individual is formed from single parent, the changes inside the DNA, the errors in the copy, the variation will be very less. We also studied asexual reproduction. Today the new individual formed a similar to their parents. Now in sexual, what will happen is there are two parents. One male has come, one female has come. Here both sex cells are involved. Both DNAs is involved. What new things were found by combining them? What was one? What was one? Tell me. Zygote. And this zygote, its DNA to its DNA to, meaning the variation increased. It is coming from two parents. The more the variation, the more the stability of the species will be. The more it can live in different environmental conditions. The more the continuity of the species will be. The more evolution will happen. But don't create so much variation that you can take a human and take a dog. Same species. It's no jokes, seriously. There should be two parents of the same species. So why the sexual mode of reproduction? Combines variations from two parents of same species. Increase chance of survival by creating more variety in a population. People of different varieties can be formed. Okay. Acha. Now one more important thing. All the cells in our body, beta, almost all cells have 23 pairs of chromosomes. Now what is chromosome? A chromosomes is the condensed form of DNA. We will read in more detail in next chapter. So the DNA inside, the nucleus inside our cell is, sometimes it is a compressed form which we call chromosomes. In our every cell, no matter which cell you take your liver cell, heart cells, blood cells, skin cell, take any cell. How many chromosomes will you find in it? 46. 46 chromosomes. 23 pair, meaning 2 in 1 pair. So how many chromosomes are you going to find inside the nucleus of your every cell? You are going to find 46 chromosomes. Suppose this is a cell of male parent and this is a cell of the female parent. How many chromosomes will be in any cell of the male parent? 46. How many chromosomes will be in any cell of female parent? 46. Now suppose both these cells combine, then by the zygote that is going to be formed. What is zygote? It is single cell, right? How many chromosomes will be inside it? 46, 40. How many? 46, 40, 40, 80. 92 chromosomes are there, beta. This is wrong. Human beings cannot have 92 chromosomes in any cells. How many should be? 46 should be. So what to do? All the cells in our body have 46 chromosomes except our sex cells or gametes. So what happens when a gamete is formed? What will be gamete be formed from? What is sex cell formed? What is the cell is formed? What does cell theory say? Any cell is formed from pre-existing cell. It is formed from some other cell. So suppose the male is making its male sex cell, it is making gamete. At this point, it adopts a special type of cell division, which we call meiosis. This also called reductionary division. What is happening? Male gamete is being formed, sex cell is being formed. One sex cell is being formed from other sex cell. At this time, this cell divides in such a way that it makes its chromosome number half. So how many chromosomes are there in male gamete? 23 chromosomes. How is gamete formed? How it is formed? It is formed by meiosis, reductional division. What does a normal cell do? It is normal by itself. It is a special cell. By dividing itself, what does it do? It makes the chromosome half. The same thing is done by the female parent. A cell of the female does what? It does meiosis. And when the female gamete is formed, how many chromosomes does it make inside it? Half, 23 chromosomes. Now 23 chromosomes in the male, 23 chromosomes in the female gamete. Both mate and what was formed? Zygote. Zygote is a single cell. How many chromosomes are inside it? 46 chromosomes. So meiosis is used when gametogenesis happens. What is gametogenesis? The formation of gamete. It is not in a syllabus, so leave it. So this happens through reductional division. Okay. Come, let's look at some questions. CBSE 2016, 2017, 2024. Offsprings formed as a result of sexual reproduction produce more variation in sexual reproduction. This is the biggest advantage, right? Why does it happen? By because genetic materials contributed by many parents. Seems correct. But it will not be many, beta. Many parents, you have many parents, you have two parents. Sexual reproduction is a lengthy process. Yes, it is. But what does it have to do with this? Genetic material is contributed by two individuals of same species to produce a new generation. Correct. Next, a zygote is formed by the fusion of a male gamete and a female gamete. The number of chromosomes in the zygote of a human. Look, the question is also been asked in the CBSE board many times. How many numbers of chromosomes will be? 46. What is zygote? Single cell. And any cell of human being, expect cell. How many chromosomes does it have? 46 or 23 pairs of chromosomes. Now we will study sexual reproduction in flower or sexual reproduction inside plants. Now, bhai, if you need a new plant, so do you need a seed? Yes, we need seed. If somehow I give you a seed, you will go and dig a hole in the ground, bury the seed and pour water over it. The sun will shine and plant will be formed. Meaning if somehow the plant makes a seed for you, a new plant will be formed. Now, how is a seed formed? A seed is formed by sexual reproduction. Where does the sexual reproduction happen? It happens in flower. So the reproductive organ of the plant, where reproduction happens, where sexual reproduction happens, which part of the plant is it? Which organ of the plant is it? It is the flower. So who is the reproductive organ of plant? Flower. What is formed from a flower? Remember, what do we need? We need a seed. We need a seed. If someone makes a seed for us, a new plant will be formed. Meaning, what is the job of sexual reproduction in a plant? To make a seed. And who will make the seed? The flower. The flower's job is exactly this. What is the job of flower, sir? The job is the flower to express love, sir, to decorate and give. No, yaar, you made all this up. Why did the nature create the flower? So that it can do sexual reproduction and provide a seed, which you put in the soil and new plant is formed. So where does sexual reproduction happens in a plant? In a flower. That is why we now have to understand the parts of the flower. I have taken a common flower, hibiscus. Hibiscus you might not understand by name. If you see this image, you will recognize it. Everyone must have seen this plant, right? Hibiscus flower. It called gudhal in Hindi. Gudhal flower, hibiscus. So hibiscus is very easy to understand. It is bisexual. That is why it is taught. Come, let's understand. First of all, look at this green leaf. So this green leaf is attached below. So you have seen it, right? A green leaf below the flower right here in the bottom, in the green leaf. What is the job, beta? Its job is to protect the flower when it is the bud stage. Protect flower in the bud stage. By these, that the green, what do we call them? We call them sepals. What is the job of these sepals? To protect the flower. By earlier it wouldn't have been a flower. Earlier it would be a small bud. So the bud remains imprisoned it. So it protects the bud from what does it protect? Protects from insect, protects from animals, protects from wind, protection. Protection to flower during the bud stage. Okay, what do we call this? We call it sepals. The one looks green. The second thing, these petals, the petals of the flower, which are beautiful, red colored, blue colored, yellow colored. We call this Pankhuriya petals. So the two things must be remembered, sepals and petals. What is the sepal? The green one at bottom. What is its job? To protect the flower when it is in the bud stage from animals, insects, wind, water. What is on top? Its petal. What are these? These are petals. These are colorful. They are fragrant. They have fragrance. What is their job? Why are the petals? Not because they look beautiful. They also have a job. Their job is to attract pollinators from nearby. So what are the near pollinator? They are insects, birds and animals, to call them to come to us. Yeah, there is a problem in the plant sexual reproduction, that the male sex cells cannot reach the female sex cells by itself. The involvement of some third party, help is needed from someone. So those help who are called pollinators, someone or the other comes in nature, it helps them. The male sex cells have to come out from here and reach inside here after the female sex cells. So pollinators are needed for that. So the trap that plant lays to call those pollinators, what is that? It is petal. How is the petal? It is colorful, right? It is colorful and beautiful. And it has a strong fragrance, a very nice scent comes to attract pollinators. So what is the job of petals? Colorful and strong fragrance to attract the pollinators. So the pollinators come and what do? They take the male sex cells near the female sex cells. Acha. The male reproductive part of the plant, that is this. The stalks are visible. These yellow stalks are visible. What are these? These are the male reproductive part of the plant. This is called stamen. This whole yellow part and this stalk that is visible, yellow stalk, this yellow stalk we call this male reproductive part. Okay, just like humans, there is a male reproductive part. Everyone knows it. Where is it? Similarly, this is the male reproductive part of the flower. This is called stamen. Whenever you show the male reproductive part, the symbol is used. Sometimes it might be used in the exams like this. What is the stamen? This entire stalk. On top of it is the anther. Look, it is written, and this stalk that is attached below is called filament. So there is a bag on top. Inside the bag, male sex cells are closed. Inside this itself is the male sex cell. Where are your sex cells closed? You know, like its sex cells are closed here inside the anther. Inside and this stalk is filament which gives support to the anther. Combining these two, we call it stamen. Where it is the male reproductive part? That is the stamen. It is shown with the symbol. The female reproductive part that you see large in the middle, that is the female reproductive part. This large part on the top that is visible, this tube that is visible below, the entire swollen part, the broken part that is visible. This whole is the female reproductive part that is called the pistil. Pistil. What is it called? It is also called pistil, carpel. Female reproductive part, pistil or carpel. There are also three parts inside it. The upper part is called stigma. This tube is called style. And the bottom swollen part is called ovary. Sir, there is a lot of memories. We will teach in detail. Slowly it will be memorized. Acha. Now we consider two types of flowers. One is bisexual, one is unisexual. It is understood by the name. A bisexual flower, a flower which have a both male reproductive part and the female reproductive part. That is, which have stamen inside, which have pistil inside it. The female reproductive part, pistil or the carpel, is denoted by the symbol. Male is denoted like this, female is denoted like this. So what is bisexual flower? Which has both the stamen and the pistil inside it. Within the flower, like you see here, which flower is this? Hibiscus. It is called China rose, good hell. The good hell flower which has both male part and female part. The one which has the stamen and pistil are in single flower, in bisexual. You have to remember two examples of this. One is hibiscus, one is mustard. Remember hibiscus and mustard like this. MH, Maharashtra. MH, Maharashtra. What are mustard and hibiscus? Bisexual, meaning stamen and pistil are of the same flower. Okay. One type is unisexual flower. Unisexual means inside one flower there will either be the female reproductive part or male reproductive part. Both will not be together. Either stamen or pistil. Contains either stamen or pistil. Its example by beet, watermelon, beet, papaya. That will be example. Papaya and watermelon. Remember, it's like this PW, right? Physics wala. Papaya and watermelon. What these are become? This become unisexual. Okay. Now further we have to understand the male reproductive part, that is stamen, and the female reproductive part, that is pistil, in detail. How will sexual intercourse happen? What will be here? Male sex cells, male gamete. And here are the female gametes. How will the meeting happen? We will see that further. Come on. The next question has come. CBSE 2020-25. What is the question? Select a pair of bisexual plants from the following. So the trick of bisexual is MH, Maharashtra, mustard and hibiscus. Here is the option B. It has come in CBSE 2021, 2024, 2025. Important question. Parts of a flower which attracts insects or pollination. Which part is that? Attract that inside, it is petals. So petals only. One option is says petals and sepals. What is the job of sepals? To protect the bud. Okay, come on, let's move forward. Now we will understand the male reproductive part and the female reproductive part properly. We call the male reproductive part called the stamen. The symbol will be this. This is for humans to plant show. Okay. There is a stick which we call filament. Its job is to hold it. Job is to stop, nothing else. The upper part is very important. This sphere, this is jhola, this is a bag, it is a sac. What is this called? It is called anther. Anther is the most main part. Like you have the penis in your body. What is inside the penis? Your sex cells. Similarly, where are the sex cells of the flower? Inside the anther. Inside the anther, beta, there are small pollen grains. And pollen grain is the flower's what? Sex cells. No. What is inside the pollen grain to male gamete, meaning male sex cells. Okay. So what is the entire male reproductive part called? The entire thing is called stamen. What is the bottom of the stick called? It is called filament. What is the bag of top called? It is called anther. What is inside anther? There are many pollen grains. And if I look at the pollen grain from inside with the microscope, if I analyze the entire pollen grain, there is a thick layer outside it. Why is there a thick layer? Just like you saw in spores. What was the thick layer for? Protection. By what will happen? The anther will burst, pollen grains will come out from the flower. This is anther will burst, pollen grains will come out. So if they go into surroundings, they will die bhai, from the surrounding temperature, from water. So to save it from that, what is attached to it? There is a thick layer. And inside this pollen grain, look what is shown to the blue color. Male gamete, meaning the male sex cell is here. Right, like in our body, there are sperms in the penis. Actually, they are not in the penis, they come out of the penis. Where are they? In the test. Anyway, male sex cells. Now the male sex cells has to come out from here and reach where? Here. This is the female sex cell. So we call the female reproductive part pistil. We will remember pistil from pistol. Short such a symbol, pistil. Pistil has three parts. You must have seen the top one like this. What is this? It is a landing area. This pollen grain burst from here. What is it carrying inside itself? Male gamete, male sex cell, went, male sex cell. It lands here. This part is called stigma. This part is a little tacky, little sticky, so that pollen grain comes and stick here. Okay. Stigma receives pollen grains during pollination due to their sticky nature. Acha. Now pollen grain has reached here. What is inside the pollen grain? It is the male gamete. The male gamete has to reach here is the female gamete. Acha. This tube helps the male gamete to reach the female gamete down below. We call this tube style, to live with style. So what is style? It is simply an elongated tube. Simple. It's elongated tube. This fallen part that you see below, the bulge part that you see, what do we call this entire part? We call it ovary. What do we call this entire part? We call it ovary. Ovary is also found in human females also, ovary. What is inside the ovary? Either one or multiple ovules are there, small ovules. So either it will be single or more than one. single or more. What are they? They are ovules. What is inside these ovules? The female sex cell, meaning the female gamete, or sometimes the book will also write female germ cell. So don't worry. For female germ cell is written, don't be afraid. Female gamete. Now, there is a male gamete inside the pollen grain, and here inside the ovary, inside the ovule, there is a female gamete. Now the pollen grain has to come from here and reach here. Now look, there are two things. Either the flower will be bisexual, meaning either it will be like that, or from here the anther from pollen grain will come out and it has to go inside the ovary here. Or it is a unisexual. The pollen grain will have to travel long distance from here, one flower to another. In one flower, the male part, in another flower, female part. So let's see how these things happen, what happens. Okay, anyways, let's assume that by some process, we will read that process. The pollen grain comes out from the anther. From where? Anther, in the male productive part, and reach here. On top of the stigma, it somehow reached on the top of the stigma. It reached on the top of the stigma. How it will be, we will see it later. Coming here, anther. Coming here, now the pollen grain stopped. This is pollen grain stopped here. Where did it come? It stopped right on the top of the female reproductive part, at the stigma. Now, bhai, what is inside the pollen grain is the male gamete. How will it go down? So this pollen grain of yours, by sticking it here, what does the stigma do? It stick it. When it came and stuck, what does it do? The pollen grain starts to germinate. It starts forming a tube below itself. You see this tube? What does it do? It starts making its tube down below. The pollen grain, it starts making its own tube. This entire cave, this tube, where will this path go? Inside the ovule to the female gamete. Then the pollen grain very cleverly does what? It releases the male gamete from inside itself. And this male gamete traveling inside this tube, traveling across, reaches where? To the female gamete. Who made this tube? What was formed? The pollen grain that came and stuck on the top of the stigma. That is why, what do we call this tube? We call this pollen tube. What is inside it? Look, the male gamete. This male gamete is traveling from here. It is traveling, reached here, reach. Where does it reach? Inside to the female gamete, and as soon as it reaches, fertilization will happen. Male female gamete will meet and fertilization takes place. What will be formed? Zygote will be formed. So this is the thing that has passed here. What is it then first? Anther contains pollen grain. Pollen lands on stigma. Where is the stigma? On the top of the female reproductive part. Then a tube grows out of the pollen grain. A tube grew from the pollen grain. What do we call that? We call it pollen tube. Then what happened? Male gamete travels to ovule. Now the male gamete traveling, look, this whole part is this is ovary. The part inside the ovary is the ovule. And inside the ovule is the female gamete. So where does the male gamete go and travel? Inside this part, the ovule too. So this is written, male gamete travels to ovule. Male gamete, female gamete will meet, fuse, fertilization. What will be formed? A single cell will be formed. Zygote will be formed. A single cell was formed. Zygote. Then what will zygote do? Multiple division will happen. 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8. What was formed? Embryo was formed. Where was it formed? Within the ovule. Where? Right here. So what happened right here? Male gamete came from above. Female was right here. Right here a zygote was formed. Then a zygote cell divide, and embryo was formed. Where was the embryo formed to? Right here. Inside. Inside what? Inside this ovule. What was formed inside the ovule? Embryo was formed. Okay. Now you have to understand some other things. It is understood. Is the entire story understood? Is the entire story understood? Look here, what happened? What came out of the anther? Pollen grain, male gamete inside the pollen grain. Where did the pollen grain come and land? On the top of female reproductive part at the stigma. From here, what did it make? It made a pollen tube. Where will this pollen tube go? It will go inside the ovule. Who will travel inside the pollen tube? The male gamete will travel. And the male gamete traveling reached where? To the female gamete. Here both underwent fusion. Zygote was formed. Zygote divided. Embryo was formed inside. Okay, it is much clear. Come on, let's move forward. Yes, now understand one thing. What did your zygote become? It becomes an embryo. By the zygote was a single cell. It divides 2, 4, 8 and so on, and ball of cells, embryo was formed. Now that is your ovule. What happens to it? It becomes completely hard and turns into seed. the ovule, this part becomes hard and turns into a seed. Ovule later turns into what? It becomes hard and turns into seed. And this outer part, the ovary, what does it do? It ripens, that turns into what? It turns into a fruit. Meaning what is formed from the flower? Fruit is formed. The fruit you eat, what is that fruit? It is actually the female reproductive part. Sir, does that sound? Yes. The female productive part of the flower itself is the fruit that you are eating. The fruit that you eat, here is your fruit. This is your fruit. What is inside the fruit? Seed. What is inside the seed? Embryo. Okay. What was the fruit made from? From the ovary, the bulge part, the female productive part, that was the bulge part. What did it become? Fruit. The ovule that was inside it become what? Become seed. And that zygote that was formed inside it by mating then formed the male gamete, female gamete. What does it become? Embryo. So remember these things. What happened to the zygote? Divide several times. What was formed? Embryo. What happened to the ovule? Develops a tough coat. What happened to the ovule? It becomes hard. It becomes a seed. Ovary grows rapidly and ripens. What did it become? Fruit. So what does form from the ovary? Fruit. So remember these three things. What will the ovule become? Seed. What does the ovary become? Fruit. And what is here? What was the zygote become? Embryo. So the fruit we are eating, what are we eating actually? The fruit we are eating, what are we eating actually? The female reproductive part of the flower. We are eating the ovary. That is the fruit. Okay. Acha. Come on, bhai. Now your seed is formed. Now the question comes, what are the parts of the seed? This seed that you are seeing, what are its parts? So the seed first has a cover, a protection, which we call the seed coat. Sometimes what happens in the board exam, they give all your parts and ask the function. There are 4 parts of seed, read their function. First, the seed has a cover. What does the seed coat give? Protection. It simply gives protection to the seed. Okay. Then you are seeing the part of the seed, open it. When I open the seed, this large part that you see is called the cotyledon. What is the cotyledon, beta? Food is stored for the seed. Now, by the seed will definitely need food. The seed will germinate, it will become a plant. It will grow, cells will divide, lots of cells will be formed, growth will happen. So you will need a food for growth. Where is the food stored in the seeds? It is in the cotyledon. What does it do? Food store. This part, this part. What does this do for the seeds? Big baby, it stores food. What will the seed become, beta? It will become a new plant. When it grows, it will need food. So this part stores that food, that cotyledon. Okay. Now the seed has 2 parts. One is upper one is lower one. The upper one is called plumule. The lower one is called radicle. It is very simple. You see 2 parts of the seed, one going upwards, one going downwards. The upper one is called plumule and the lower one is called radicle. So the upper part, the plumule, what does it become? It becomes the future shoot. Shoot means the upper part of the plant. Anything except the root. This is the plant's root. Whatever the above it, which is called shoot. The plant stem is one, the plant's flower is one, the plant's leaf is one. What are all these? Shoot. And what is below? Root. So the plumule, what it will become in the future? What will it become? The plant's stem, leaves, flower, that is plant shoot. And the radicle, the lower part, what will it become? It will become the root in the future. If there is confusion, remember it. R for radicle, R for root. So this part becomes future shoot. What did this become? Future root. There is one more term, germination. What is germination, beta? The formation of a plant from seed, germination, process by which a seed starts to grow into a new plant is called germination. Clear? Come on. Now the question came, by how will those pollen grains reach from the anther to the stigma? We saw by where were the pollen grains going from? They were going from anther to the stigma. Here. We saw where the pollen grains were going from. It stood from the anther, and where did it reach? To the stigma it has to reach, isn't it? From the male part it had to reach the female part. How will this process happen? We call this process pollination. What is pollination? Transfer of pollen from anther to stigma of flower. That is, how will the pollen grain reach from anther to stigma? So who carries the pollen grain? Wind carries it, animal carries it, bird carries it, water carries it. We call these agents of pollination. Wind, water, animals, what are these? Agents of pollination. What do they do? From anther to stigma. That is, the carry pollen grain from male to female. And what is inside the pollen grain? It is the male gamete. Now there are 2 methods of the self-pollination and cross-pollination. Now what is self-pollination? transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma of either in the same flower or another flower in the same plant. That is inside the same flower. Inside the same flower, if pollen grains go from the anther to the stigma in the same flower, then we call it self-pollination. Self means inside the same flower. So where will this happen? It will happen in bisexual flower. That pollen grains reach from the anther to the stigma inside the same flower. This is called self-pollination. One more case of self-pollination is, suppose there are two flowers on the same tree. There are two flowers on the same plant, and the pollen grains go from the anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower, even when we call it self-pollination. Self-pollination, transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of either in the same flower or another flower in the same plant, even if they went from the anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower inside the same plant, it is called self-pollination. Okay. Cross-pollination, the remaining one. What is the cross-pollination? That is, will have to go from one plant to another plant. It will have to cross one plant to another plant. So there will be an anther on the flower. There will be on stigma on the other plant. Pollen grain will go from here to here. There is one condition, that both these plants should be of the same species. Cross-pollination. Transfer of the pollen grains from the anther of the one flower to the stigma of another flower on a different plant of the same species. So only use the term cross-pollination when what is found? A different plant is found. Inside the same plant, if it grows one flower to another flower, it will call self-pollination. And if inside the same flower, anther of one, it is going from anther to the stigma inside same flower, then it will be self-pollination. Now out of these two, which method of pollination is better for nature? Think yourself. Think. Comment and tell the answer. You will understand too which one is better for nature. Cross, in my opinion, is better for nature because it is going from one plant to another plant, so more variation will be obtained. So CBSE has asked this question many times. 23, 20, 2000, 2024. One thing is asked many times, is the difference between self-pollination and cross-pollination. The second thing is asked, which one is better for variation. So which is better? Cross-pollination is better for the survival of species. It makes genes from two different plants, creating more variation, which helps plants adopt and survive better in changing environments. Okay. A question has come, CBSE 2014, 2022, 2023, 2024. The correct true statement for a bisexual flower is R. Tell me. They possess both stamen and pistil. Is it correct, bhai? Is it correct? What will be in the bisexual flower? Male reproductive part and female. That's right. They possess either stamen or pistil. It is wrong. They exhibit either self-pollination. Will we do self-pollination? Yes, it will bisexual. So it will definitely do self-stamen and pistil inside the same flower. Will it do cross-pollination? Absolutely it will. Suppose one plant is this one. Here one bisexual flower, here one bisexual flower. So it can go from its anther to its stigma. So it can also cross. So it will do self and cross as well. So 1 and 3 both are correct. Option C is correct. Clear? Come on, the next topic has arrived. Reproduction in human beings. Write a small smile on the face. Okay, no problem, smile, but understand how humans reproduce is also important. Okay. Now the very first topic is sexual maturation of the body, which we also call the time of puberty. What is this thing? Tell me one thing. Can you nursery child, a 3-year-old child or a 5-year-old child reproduce? No. At that time, our body puts all its energy into our general growth, such that our height is increasing, our arms and legs are growing, fingers are growing. The growth overall body keeps happening. After some time, the body realizes this human has grown. It has grown okayish. Now prepare him for sexual reproduction so that he produces new individuals. By this is that rule of world. This is the rule of nature. The nature wants is that you keep producing new individuals. So after a certain time, the preparation of your body starts so that you can become capable of reproducing. Now this time of preparation is not for 1 month or 2 months. This goes over few years. This is what we call puberty. Puberty comes little early in girls, around approximately some age of 10 to 14 years. It can be little earlier or too late. It is different for everyone. It is little late for boys, around age for 12 to 16 years. What happens in this? A lot of change comes inside our body and we start getting ready to reproduce sexually. This is called puberty. The time in life when a boy or girl becomes sexually mature. It is a process that usually, look, the word usually is used. It is not necessary. Usually happens between age 10 to 14 for girls and age 12 to 16 for boys. It causes physical changes and affect boys and girls differently. Different changes come in boys and girls. What changes comes? Let's understand that. What all changes comes in males? The first thing is facial hair growth happens by beard starts coming. Earlier you were totally cute babu, suddenly that beard came, right? Become a man, mustache start coming, facial hair growth start happening. What happens with underarm and pubic hair growth? Hair starts growing in the underarm baglo. Pubic hair means your reproductive organs, your genitals. What happens there? Suddenly hair starts growing. Deepening of voice. Beta, when you are small child, mommy, mommy, papa, 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 papa. Suddenly one day you say, Baba, listen one thing. We are going to school. Papa is asking, why are you shouting me? What happened? Your voice start getting heavy, right? It's starting get deep. And what happens to the girl's voice? They start becoming high pitched. Papa, papa, my dear papa. So girl's voice is high pitched. Boy starts becoming deep. Enlargement of genital penis size. The size of your penis size start increasing. It was small earlier, slowly it gets start bigger. Why? Because it's getting ready for reproduction. In fact, inside your penis, you suddenly feel an erection. Suddenly, sometimes it happens that penis is getting erect, which was never felt in childhood. Sperm production starts. Sperm, that is male gamete. Male sex cells production starts. One more thing happens, which is common in boys and girls. Skin starts becomes oily. Pimples start appearing, right? Suddenly you see that you soon as you turn 10, 12, 15 years, pimples start appearing. Pimples are coming on the face and you are bursting them. Acha. So these changes in boys happen. If I talk about females, what happens? First of all, breast development starts happening. So the breast, what they have in childhood, male and female look alike. But with the time, what happens? Their breast start developing during puberty. Underarm and pubic hair growth, this thing is common. What happens in male and female? Hair starts growing in their underground too. And hair starts growing around their reproductive parts. Increase in fat mass of hips and thighs. The hips and thighs of females become more fat and mass starts coming inside them. Compared to male and thigh, their thigh become more thicker. Menstruation cycle starts, girl's period starts coming at that time. At this part, in the same is both for. Pimples also start appearing. Sometimes in the exam ask, what are the common changes? So point number 2, point number 6, what is? They become common. The period of puberty can be different for the different people. So it come early in some, late in others. So there is no need to worry that are mine and start but friend says. And all these changes do not come simultaneously. Maybe sometimes tomorrow your voice getting heavy and slowly beard is coming. Anyway, some people's beard never comes. I already told you. Your friend who is thinking that his beard will come later. Now it won't come, my bhai. Tell him, I already told you, I had friend, his beard doesn't come and name is Sanjeev Bose. I will tell you name again. So beta, I am telling you that their changes happen at different times for everyone. There is no need to worry. Some happens early, some happens later. There is no fixed time. It is a range. Generally, it happens earlier in girls. It happens later in boys. This period is called puberty. The body becomes sexual mature. Now we have come towards the male reproductive part. Now what is male reproductive system? What is male reproductive part? Look, different systems are made in the different body, different jobs. For example, there is digestive system for digesting food. For example, there is an excretory system for taking out waste. For example, there is a transportation system for digesting oxygen for glucose everywhere. This is why similarly, there is system for doing reproduction, which we call reproductive system. Now in the male reproductive system, what is the most important for us? Tell me. The most important thing is that somehow male sex cells, that is male gametes are formed. The male sex cells or male gametes in the human case, what do we call that? We call it sperm. Sperm. And sperm, look, there is head in front, there is tail behind. And the male sex cells are produced in quite large numbers. Millions of sperms are produced at once. They are small in size. This is smallest cell of the human body. So what is the male gamete? The male sex cells is the smallest cell of the human body. We call this sperm. Now how this sperm formed? How does it come out of the body? How does it go to the female? This is story we need to understand. So where is the male reproductive system? Everyone knows, right? All the boys, everyone knows it, where it is. We have to understand some parts and their function. The very first thing is scrotum. Look here, I picked up an NCERT diagram. The very first thing is the pouch of skin that you see outside the body. It hangs slightly outside your body. It is a pouch of skin which we call the scrotum inside. Inside this scrotum itself, your testes. Testes are the most important reproductive part of the male body. Inside the testes, male gamete, that is sperm, is formed. So what is outside? Slightly outside the body, slightly outside the abdomen. What is yours? It is scrotum. Inside the scrotum are the testes. And Edna, what is being formed inside the testes? What is being formed inside the testes? Male gamete is being formed. Male gamete meaning sperm cells are being formed. Okay. Now, why is the scrotum outside the body? Because 2 to 2.5 degrees less temperature the body is required to make the sperm cells. That is why it is outside the body, so that temperature inside it remains 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius less than the body. So what is scrotum? It is a pouch of skin which is slightly the outer side of the body. Maintain the low temperature of the testes 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius lower than the normal internal body temperature. What is it by? Inside the scrotum, inside this pouch of skin, what is there? There is an oval shaped structure. It is an oval ball like structure which we call the testes. And what is formed in this testes? Sperm, that is male gametes are formed. Here 2 to 2.5 degrees test temperature. The next thing that comes your testes. What is the most main job of the testes? To make the sperm cells, to make male gametes, produce sperm cells. Second important job is that it produces hormone, which is very important, testosterone. Which hormone does it produce? You have to remember it. Testosterone hormone. What is this? This gives you manly characteristics, this beard that you are getting, this deepening your voice. All this happens because of this hormones, testosterone. If the testosterone hormones start increasing in adults, she starts behaving like a male. So this can be kind of chemical imbalance. It can be hormonal imbalance in somebody's body. So testosterone is that hormone because of which you behave like male. Like a man means in your upbringing and many things. Anyways, the behavior depends on upbringing and many other. Testosterone. Actually, testosterone has one more job. One is giving you secondary sexual characteristics that are beard, hair, depending on voice, etc. What is the second job of testosterone? To make your sperm cells produce. So who produces sperm cells? They are inside the testes. But who regulates it? Regulates it, testosterone. Regulates formation of sperms, changes at the time of puberty. Whose job is this? Testes. So beta, sperms are formed from here. Now sperms will have to get out of the body. Only then it will go to the female. So for going out of the body, the tube it gets, a duct it gets, a pipe it gets. Look, you see, pipe is going out from the testes here. This pipe, this tube that take the sperms out is called the vas deferens. What is called? Vas deferens. What is this? Carries sperms towards urethra. What is urethra, beta? It is the tube that inside your penis and takes sperms outside. You can also call this sperm duct. It is important to remember name of vas deferens. What is vas deferens? It is tube that takes sperm from the testes and takes it out of your penis. Okay. Now beta, the sperm cells, they need a few things. First, it needs a fluid medium, something to flow in. Thing is need that sperm is very excellent swimmer. The male sperms that are very fantastic swimmers, they very well swim. They swim really well, but to swim, they need water medium too. So where do they get that fluid from? Three glands will come here. One will come the seminal vesicle, you see this. One will come the prostate gland, you see this. And one is the bulbourethral gland. NCERT does not mention this, you can skip it. These three are actually in pairs. These are two glands each, the glands in pairs. What do? They put in some fluid medium where in the vas deferens. Look, that vas deferens is coming. It is coming. Yes, look at this. Now the vas deferences come from the testes, came. The vas deferens came from the testes. What did it bring? It brought sperm. What did the vas deferens bring from the testes? It brought the sperm cells, brought. Now these three glands which are with seminal vesicle, we have to remember the name by prostate gland, skip the third one, bulbourethral gland. What do these three do? Seminal vesicle and prostate gland, look at what they do. They put a fluid here, a secretion here. What are these secretions? They are such fluids that take care of the sperm's food and drink. By the sperm has to go very long journey. Now it has to exit the penis, go into the vagina, then enter through the cervix, then go into the uterus, then reach the fallopian tube inside the female body. For such a long journey, they pack a food and water and give it the second thing, they give a fluid medium where it can swim without friction. They give lubrication, they give it nourishment, they give protection, they maintain its pH. A lot of work happens with the secretion that comes out of this gland show. Now listen, many times you must have heard two terms. One, you must have heard joke here, but you don't understand. Sperm, a semen. You people think both are same, they are slightly different. Sperm is your cells. Sperm is simply your cells, sex cells. Along with sperm, if the fluid is found, which fluid? This fluid that seminal vesicle gave, the prostate gland gave. When this entire fluid is found, the combination is called what? Called as semen. The white fluid is actually, it is semen, inside which there are millions of sperms. Okay. Now are the things written here. Seminal vesicle and prostate gland. What is their job? Add their secretions, put sperms in a fluid, which makes their transport easier. So they give fluid medium, the transport becomes easier, provides nutrition, they give food and water, maintain pH, they give protection. Acha. Now from here the sperm went, testes went, in vast difference where a child went. Brothers, I'm not able to swim. They said take fluid. Oh, some minor vesicle, prostate gland, everyone fruit. Now it is no longer sperm. Now what has it become? Now it becomes semen. The semen went and came into tube, which we call urethra. Urethra. Inside the male, this is common path for both urination and semen release. That is, there is common passage for urine and sperms or semen, which goes through your penis, which we call the urethra. In females, the passage is separate. In males, there is common passage, we call the urethra. Common passage for both semen and urine. Then what is the penis? Beta, the penis is a muscular organ that show erection, which goes inside the reproductive part, vagina, and inseminates the sperm, deposits sperm into the vagina during insemination. Here the definition of semen is written by tissue fluid that contains sperm cells and a nourishment. You read it. Okay, come on. The story is understood. Acha. Now we have come into female reproductive system. Now in the female reproductive system, what will be the most important? For me, the female sex cell will be the most important. Where I'm supposed, I am concerned with sex cell. After that, by fertilization will happen. Meaning, what is the female gamete? So what is the female gamete inside humans? Egg cell or ovum? It looks like this. This is a very big cell. In fact, this is the largest cell of the human body, ovum or egg cell. And how were the sperm? Smallest cells. So look boys, what is your condition? The smallest, and the female gamete is the biggest, egg cell. And female egg cells are not produced in such large numbers as millions of sperms are released in one ejaculation. But here it does not happen like that. Come on, let's understand. Acha. Now where the male gametes, that is male sperm, is being formed, they were formed in testes in the ovule structure. Just like boys have two testes, similarly do girls have, they have two ovaries. In these ovaries, when girls are born, beta, from that time itself, their ovaries, inside their ovaries, many egg cells, ovums are stored at the same time. Yes, when girls are born, it is decided that itself how many egg cells will be here. It is decided right from the mother's womb. But these egg cells that are inside them, the female gamete that is inside them are immature. As the time of puberty comes, these egg cells start maturing. And every month, and only one egg cell comes out here in this tube. There are two ovaries. How many every month? Only one. How many egg cells are inside the ovary? There are thousands of egg cells. Thousands are big actually, not in millions. There are thousands egg cells. Every month, one egg cell comes out from here into this tube. Like what was there in tube? Vast difference. What is the tube here? Oviduct. By what are these called? Ovary. And the name of the tube that comes out here is oviduct, or it is called fallopian tube. Only one egg cell is released every month. 1 month it will be released from this ovary. Next month it will be released from this ovary. The next month from this ovary. Every month releasing only one egg cell from every month. And for this one egg cell, millions of sperms are going to fight to who will do fertilization with it. Okay, actually it is not 1 month, it is 28-day cycle. Roughly we'll call it 1 month. Okay. So first of all, ovary. Site of ovum or egg cell development. But fixed as soon as you were born, how many to have? Contains thousands of immature eggs. Some of these starts maturing on reaching puberty. On reaching puberty, they start to mature. One egg is released every month by one of the ovaries. Only one egg will be released every month. Then came your oviduct or fallopian tube. What is this beta? This is the path through which egg cell will come here. Okay. Carry the ovum from the ovary to the uterus. Uterus is the part inside it. Uterus. So what does this oviduct or fallopian tube do? It brings the egg cell from here to here. But actually, if a child to be born, if fertilization is to happen, then the egg cell will not have to come here. Sperm cells will have to come from here, passing through the vagina, traveling the entire distance, and then come here to fuse with the egg cell, because the sperm cell has the ability to swim. You see, all the work is done by the boys, beta. What did the bhaiya do? Egg cells are produced and stop right there in the oviduct, the female ones. From here, sperms have to travel from penis, coming out of the testes through the wall difference, out of the urethra, into the vagina, through the uterus and reach here. So right here, beta, the meeting of the egg cell and sperm cells happened. Meaning this is the site of fertilization. Remember it. In a plant, the site of fertilization was ovum. What is the site of fertilization here? Sorry, it was ovary. It was ovule. What is the site of fertilization here? It is the oviduct. So the site of fertilization is important. It asks where fertilization happens. So don't write it happens in the uterus. Sperm cells travel and reach all the way here. Okay. Next came uterus and womb. Now what is the thing? Doesn't mom say, I kept you in my Coke for 9 months? What is Coke? Coke is not stomach. Not the drink Coke, not cold drink. Coke is not a stomach, beta. You are not in the mother's stomach. Where were you? You were in mom's uterus. This is an elastic bag inside which the embryo matures to become a fetus. A baby is formed from fetus. 9 months you grew right here, beta. In mom's womb. This is mom's womb. This is an elastic bag inside which the embryos came. Then the embryos become fetus. Then it becomes a baby. This is where all your eating, drinking and all your enjoyment before birth happened. Where it has happened. Elastic bag-like structure in which the embryo and fetus develop, involved in maturation. It is also involved in this. Okay, we will read about this later. After this, one part is cervix. Beta, what does the cervix do? It separates the uterus, meaning womb, from the vagina. This is the job of the cervix. Separate the vagina from the uterus, dilates during birth to allow the fetus to leave the uterus. When birth happens, the child is born. What do? It dilates open so that child can come out. The last one is beta, vagina. What is vagina? It is entry passage from where will sperms do what? They will go inside. So vagina is your entry passage. So what is vagina? Provides a passageway for sperms and natural flow. Function as the birth canal. It is birth canal. The childs come out from here. So this is the female reproductive system. All parts and their functions must be remembered very well. Okay. Acha. Now let's see the process. How will sperm come? How will utilization happen? How will zygote be formed? We have to understand the whole story. Come. I have taken a diagram of the uterus. Okay. I have taken a diagram of uterus. Okay. I have taken the entire female system. Look, this is the entire uterus. This is fallopian tube or oviduct. And what is this of mine? It is ovary. What will be released from the ovary? An egg cell will be released from the ovary. So the egg cell or ovum came out from here and reached here. What came out? Egg cell. This egg cell came out and reached here. Now the sperm, beta, that poor thing, the story of sperm coming out of the entire male reproductive system, coming out of the testes through the vas deferens, out of the urethra here, will go inside the vagina here, passing through the cervix. It will reach the uterus here. You see, these are very good swimmers. Swimming. They have to reach here fallopian tube. So these sperm swimming, sperm from here. Swimming, and they are not the one. There are millions of sperm. A full battle is going on. Why? Whose egg it will be? Whose it will be? Whose it will be? Look, boys, there is competition going on. Walking. Look, they must be visible here. I'll zoom in a little bit. Did you see? Yes, you see them? Right, small. Lots of sperms reached. Now, among these, there will be any one sperm that will be with egg. Any one sperm, anyone. One lucky fellow will here fertilize with egg and form zygote. So what will happen here, beta? There is one sperm which will gonna be a fertilize, and what will form? What was formed from fertilization? Zygote. Look, many sperms came, one is fertilized. What is formed? Zygote, a single cell. Now, as soon as the zygote is formed, what do it do? Do you know what is zygote? Just single cell. Then what does it do? Division 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4. Now it starts dividing and forms multiply cells. It starts forming embryo. And while forming the embryo, it starts coming downwards. It starts coming towards the uterus. Here, look at the diagram behind. From here. Like this. From while forming the embryo, it starts coming here. Because the child has to be nurtured and grow here. So while forming the embryo, starts coming here. Okay. So while forming the embryo, falls down. And finally, the embryo sticks to the wall of the uterus. Why does it stick to the wall of the uterus? Why does it stick? Why? The embryo needs food and drink, needs oxygen and needs excrete waste. So now it will need some source. So what happens? Mommy's uterus, that is womb, has a thick lining of blood vessels here. There is a thick lining. What is the thick uterus lining made of? It is made of blood vessels. Uterus lining. Embryo comes and stick to this. What does it say to mommy? Give us oxygen, give us glucose. they take oxygen and glucose from her blood. This is what motherhood is. That is why it is so beautiful. A tiny embryo came, it stuck to the very outer wall of mom's uterus. This is called endometrium. It is not in NCERT. You don't need to memorize it. Endometrium, this last wall, the thick wall, made of blood vessels. It stuck to this and then nourished by mom's blood and start growing bigger. Slowly, slowly, it goes bigger. It becomes a fetus from the embryo. From the weight comes out from the fetus. So all these steps are written. The first is fertilization. When a sperm reaches the ovida or fallopian tube, this is your fallopian tube or ovida. It fuses with ovum to form a zygote. The zygote formation and divisions. The zygote divides repeatedly to form a ball of cells, which is the embryo. Embryo formation. This ball of cells travels down to the uterus and gets implanted. Here it will be implanted. Gets implanted in the lining of the uterus. Endometrium, cut this out, forming an embryo. What will happen? Ball of cells travels down to the uterus, gets implanted in the lining of the uterus, forming an embryo. Fetus formation. As the embryo continues to develop and body parts start forming, it is called fetus. What is in the fetus? The child's hand and feet start forming a little. What is embryo? Ball of cells. Then what is fetus? The one inside which a human starts forming. So beta, you should remember these 4 steps. Okay. Acha. Now look, there are some differences between male and female gamete, between sperm cells and egg cells. Their very first thing, what is sperm cells of the body? They are smallest cell. And what is the egg cell? It is the largest cell. How are these? Motile. Motile means they can swim. They are very good swimmers. They don't need a swim. So just come in the oviduct and the work has been done. Because after this, by the also have to do work of nurturing. The boys boast that, sir, we did all the hard work, sir, we went inside, sir, we worked so hard, we reached the top by swimming the whole way, we did great. And after that, the job was finished. Then all the work belongs to the poor girl. Then the child has to nurture there. What is it? This is why, beta, this is ovum is big so that it stores the food. You who went, you just went, beta, did fertilization, then your job. You left bhaiya to the office. Now, what does this poor egg have to do? It has to store the food. So the poor girl will also go to the office and also feeding the children. So the egg cell is big for the reason food is also stored. Where are these produced? In the testes. Where are these produced? In the ovaries. These are produced in large numbers here. One released per month. Okay. Come on. Now our next topic is placenta. Now what is the placenta thing? Have you ever seen a newborn baby or seen its videos on the internet? You must have seen a whole tube coming out of its navel like this. A tube like this comes out of the navel, which goes and attaches to a large disc like this, to a large disc. What is this tube called? Everyone must have heard it somewhere. It is called the umbilical cord. It is umbilical cord when the child in the mother's womb. Through this cord, it gets food from mummy, gets oxygen. The child excretes its waste into mummy's blood. This umbilical cord goes and it's attached to the disc-shaped tissue. We call this beta placenta. This is the placenta that when there you are in mother's womb, this is the tissue that gave you food, gave you water, gave you oxygen and took your waste out. So disc-shaped tissues develop inside uterus during pregnancy. I told you what is the uterus? Mummy's womb, mother's womb. Okay, mother's womb is only present when during pregnancy. So it's not that placenta is always found in girls. This when it is formed during pregnancy. Placenta is attached to uterus lining and umbilical cord. To what all it is attached? Look, this is the uterus lining, this, and this is the placenta. Is it visible? This is the disc placenta. To what it attached on one side? To the uterus lining. And to what is it attached on the other side? It is not visible here. On the other side, it is attached to the umbilical cord. So on one side, it is attached to umbilical cord. On the other side, it is attached to the outer lining of mummy's uterus. Placenta has villi. Where did you study villi? You studied intestine, small intestine. Where is villi? Finger-like structure. What did they do? They increase the surface area for absorption. So what is here in the placenta? There are villi, finger-like projections, which increase the surface area so that you can absorb more oxygen and absorb more glucose from the blood. Large surface area for the exchange of substances between mother and developing fetus. Functions of placenta are very important. Remember this, it is very important. There are 2 functions. What are they? Exchange of glucose and oxygen. First thing is from the thick lining of mummy's uterus. The endometrium which has a thick lining, taking glucose, taking oxygen to pass from mother to the developing embryo. Second thing is through child, through the umbilical cord from the child. What is asking? Asking for waste product. Waste to pass from the embryo to the mother through the umbilical cord. So very important, you have to remember this. Is it clear where is the placenta? I will show you once in previous diagram too. You will get the feel of it. Here beta, a disc-shaped structure will form like this. On this place there will be embryo. On this side there will be thick lining of mother's uterus. And here is the middle. There is a disc-shaped structure which we call placenta. Look, this is the lining of mommy's uterus and this is your umbilical cord. Okay. CBSE 2018, 2020, 2022, 2024. What is it? The incorrect statement about placenta is what is wrong? It is a disc embedded in the uterine wall. That is correct, bhai. That's right. It's the uterine wall itself. It contains villi on the end. It is correct, bhai. Villi is there. It has a very small surface area. That is wrong statement. What is small? It is a large surface area. So this become your correct option and wrong according to the statement. The embryo gets nutrition from the mother's blood. This is correct. Okay. Acha. Next. CBSE 2018, 2020, 2022, 2024. What is it? Explain the events that take place when a sperm reaches the oviduct till it becomes a fetus. So I told you many steps just now, right? Events that take place once a sperm reaches the oviduct till it becomes a fetus. So I taught you all these steps just now here. This. When sperm reaches where? In the oviduct. Then fertilization, then zygote will be formed, then embryo will be formed, then fetus will be formed. So you have to write all these steps here. The same answer is written. Look, it has written many times in the board. So bhai, prepare this thing. Next is what? The role of placenta in pregnancy. So I told you the role of placenta. One is to supply glucose and oxygen to the child and to waste from the child to mommy. Okay. Acha. Next beta, menstruation. What is menstruation beta? It is general language. We call it periods. Who gets it? Girls gets it. When it does it happen? Generally starts from age 12 years. Everyone at their own time. Some starts in class 6, for some happens in class 7, some in class 8. It happens in different age. What is menstruation beta? There are about 2 to 4 to 6 days in a month where girls experience bleeding through the vagina. It is a very painful process, right? Many girls have more pain, some less. So it is different in everyone. Some had is 4 days, some has 6 days. It is varies a lot. Generally, we say a month, it is 28 days cycle. We call this menstruation. Now the question comes, sir, why this bleeding happens suddenly to girls? Why is this bleeding not happening in boys? Because beta, girls have taken the entire responsibility of raising the child. Now the uterus inside girls, now uterus, the job is, what is the job of uterus? Get ready for the child. That if a child comes, it will stuck to my wall. If a child comes, the embryo will come and stick to my wall only. So I will have to keep my wall thick. I have to keep a thick wall of blood vessels. I have to maintain a good supplier so that child that is formed that can take oxygen, glucose from it. Why? If there are no thick blood vessels, the child will not get sufficient oxygen and glucose at all. Why? The lot of blood is needed. So what does a uterus do? It prepares a thick wall every month. Understand it this way, it prepares the home for child. For a newborn child, it's not even a newborn child, the embryo that is forming inside the womb. The zygote that becomes an embryo, for that it gets a home ready saying, bhai, this month, acha, how does it get the signal? It gets the signal like this. What came out of the ovary? Ovum, egg cells came out of the ovary. Where did it go? Into the fallopian tube. Now this reproductive system is innocent. It thinks that, bhai, sexual intercourse will happen. Sperms will come and fuse here. And fusion happens. If fusion happens, I will get the child. So that got ready. They start building home for the child. They started making their uterus wall thick. That endometrium I told you. Forget that endometrium. They are making their wall thick. They are preparing the child comes. They will give him everything. But suppose sexual intercourse did not happen. Or suppose fertilization did not happen. By people use a condom, use some contraceptive method. So these 4 things, hard work was wasted. They said, yeah, I was ready for the child. What should I do? Now they get and need. They say, I had built such a nice home. You didn't give a child. Now it has no use. So what do? They are thick wall. Thick lining of uterus breaks down. And what happens is bleed through the vagina. And this house built for the child washes away. This keeps happening every month. That keeps happening until fertilization does not happen. Menstruation is the monthly process in which the uterus shakes its lining along with through the blood through the vagina. It occurs in the females usually once every 28 to 30 days. The ovary releases 1 egg every month. The uterus also prepares itself every month to receive a fertilized egg. It prepares itself every month thinking it will receive a fertilized egg. Thus its lining become thick and spongy for nourishing the embryo if fertilization had taken place. If fertilization happens, I will nourish the embryo, meaning I will take care of it, raise it. If fertilization of egg does not occur, this thick lining of uterus breaks and bleeding occurs. Okay. Acha, this menstruation cycle starts when puberty comes, when you are ready to reproduce. So in the beginning, it's a girl child. Then the time comes of our menarche where menstruation starts, where the uterus lining starts becoming thick every month. Generally, this happens to the girl's age of 12 to 14 years. Then what comes, our time comes at the age of 45 to 50 years when this things stop happening. When this thing stops happening, that now by the uterus does not make its wall thick, now the girl cannot conceive a child, menopause arrives, old age arrives. Okay. Acha. Question CBSE 2018, 2020, 2022, 2025. Match the column. Come on, bhai, let's play the match column. Site of fertilization of egg with the sperm. Site of fertilization, oviduct or fallopian tube. So A's answer is 3. Next. Site of implantation of embryo. What does the embryo come and stick? Where does the implant? On the wall of the uterus. So there is only uterus here. The wall is not written to. Site of entry of sperm into the female reproductive tract. Site of entry of sperm, vagina. So this is the first. Site through which the waste material generated by the developed embryo in remove. What does it exit through? Umbilical cord. It's not option. There is placenta, so written placenta. Fifth. That become fifth. Sorry, placenta is 4. So find it. Third, second, 1/4. Third, second, 1/4. Here is. Okay. Come on. Next. Now, beta, we have come to reproductive health or contraceptive method. Now, what is this thing? Beta, look, where every time asexual intercourse happens, it is not necessary that they want a baby. First thing, because somewhere or the other, we have to maintain population control, right? It also came, hum do, hamare do. Then after that, what happens? Hum do, hamara ek. Now, what is the term used? Ding, D-I-N-K. Double income, no kid. That no child is to be born. So, this is the individual choice, whether he wants to have children or not. But sexual intercourse has to be. So, we had to find such a process that sexual intercourse happens. And fertilization also does not happen. Pregnancy does not happen. So what have we called those methods? We have called them contraceptive methods. So the biggest job of contraceptive method is only one, to stop pregnancy. The second job is to stop the transmission of sexual disease. So contraceptive methods are being made for them. Okay. The most easy, most cheap, most fast one, and the one that is painless is the physical or mechanical barrier. It's simple. In physical or mechanical barrier, you can easily remember condoms. So male condoms are more famous, but female condoms also exist, which female can use on the reproductive part or males can also use. What is condom, beta? It is a physical barrier. It is a thing made of latex, made of rubber. What happened? The male ejaculated, sperms remained inside this. They could not reach the vagina outside. Or if the female has put on her vagina, then they could not reach inside the oviduct. So it stops them. It stops the mating of sperms and eggs. It does not let fertilization happen. It has more advantage that it does not let your body fluid or male body fluid touch the female body fluid. It does not allow contact. Due to this, sexual transmitted disease also do not go back and forth. So 4 sexual transmitted diseases are mentioned by NCERT. 2 happens due to bacterial infection. You must remember these names. 2 happens due to bacterial infection. One is gonorrhea, one is syphilis. This gonorrhea and one syphilis. And 2 are viral infections. One is immunovirus, virus HIV, which is becomes AIDS, and one is warts. So this also protects against these 4 diseases because your body fluids do not come into contact. Okay. Example, condom. What are the side effects? Someone might get a latex allergy. Someone might be allergic to rubber. Vaginal or penile irritation happen by many different fluids are applied on it. It made of latex. Sometimes it is flavored. Things are applied. What can happen because of that? Irritation can happen in the vaginal penile area, or this problem can occur in it. Sometimes it also happens that people who are seeking pleasure do not get pleasure. So all this can be side effects. What is it? Hormonal barrier. What is hormonal barrier, beta? You took oral contraceptive pills. Oral contraceptive or P pills. So you took the pills. Female generally use them. These pills, beta, work in different ways. They work in hormones. Sometimes they do not allow the production of egg cell at all, thinking if there are no egg cell, what will the production? Sometimes the egg cell production is happening, they kill the sperm. So by doing different tasks, they also stop the fertilization. Hormonal balance to prevent the egg release in female. What does it mainly do? It does not let the egg release. How are they taken? They are taken only. What are the side effects? They can be headache, periods can be irregular, there can be dizziness. Next is what? IUCD. By yet side effects are well less. There is also oral advantageous method, right? Next is what? IUCD, intrauterine contraceptive device. Now, what is the advantage of devices? That is, this surgery is done once, it cannot be done at home. Those 2 things can be done at home. Once this surgery is done, this is also done on females. This is also for females, right? And this is also for females, right? Once you get this surgery done, you have no tension for pregnancy for 3 to 4 years. So what is the more common? It is copper T. You can see this T-shaped copper. What is this beta? In the uterus it is inserted. Okay, doctor, do it. Now what happens from this? Copper ions are released. What do copper ions do? As soon as sperms come, they are toxic to it. They kill it. They don't let it swim, so they will stop fertilization. What are the side effects? So the same irregular period can occur, back pain can occur, vaginal discharge can occur. There are problems of this kind. Okay. What is next? Is the surgical barrier. What is surgical barrier? Beta is called nasbandi in Hindi. What happens is that you blocked the tube through which the male gamete or female gamete was coming. So it has two methods, meaning two ways it can be done. One is male, one female. When done in males, we call it vasectomy. When done in females, we do tubectomy. Vasectomy means what did you do to the vast difference from the middle? You cut and blocked it like this. And what is tubectomy? When do you block the fallopian tube from the middle? So this is written in tubectomy, the fallopian tube of female is blocked to prevent egg from reaching the uterus. So the egg beta will come out from here. It will come out from the ovary, but it will not be able to reach the uterus. It came out of the ovary, but what did you do? You did tubectomy. Tubectomy means you sweat the fallopian tube from here, meaning you blocked it. So the egg will come out of here, but it will not reach the ovary. And what did the vasectomy? You block the vast difference. So sperms will come out of the testes from here, but they will not be able to reach your urethra there. It also had some side effects. What are the side effects? Dizziness, weakness, nausea. So the exams can ask 3-4 methods, their side effects, all this. So 1 second. This is the question whose answer you have to tell by commenting, and the children who comment correct answer for it, I will announce the names of 15-20 of them in the next lecture. So bhai, quickly comment the answer to the question. Keep studying. All the very best.